Nobody's going to love Richmond here after tonight if you're not finishing first, probably.
All right. Happy Monday, everyone.
Because this is a tricky track.
Welcome to Richmond Speedway.
Are going to be dealing with a
We
handful
are
tonight, especially with that track temp and that air temp that you talked about earlier, since it's so hot out here in today's virtual Richmond Wavesway.
Yeah, I mean, you have the
I'm not sure what's going on with SDK here.
Sweeping corners, they can get pretty loose. If you need your car to go fast here, the corners are flat. You have to get as much speed as you can out of it. Thankfully, with these next-gen cars tonight, with the wider wheelbase, it makes it for a little bit easier.
Which I'm kind of fine with.
Xfinity or even trucks.
2 minutes to go.
It doesn't get as loose as it's been
Yeah, it's
getting.
going to be hot and slick to begin with. I expect a lot of people to take it easy, let their stuff warm up, which doesn't take as much time with these low-profile tires. But once these guys get warmed up, then we'll probably.
So anyway, welcome to
But
Richmond Raceway. We are here with the Full Throttle Sim Racing.
Jason off of turn 4. That's probably that usually is the troublesome corner when it comes to self-car spins. We're probably going to see a decent amount of at least upset cars, maybe a couple of complete self-spins tonight off of turn 4.
Next Gen League.
As you know, here at Richmond, it closes in a hurry and can cause some late corner exit contacts.
Yeah, for sure. This is one of my favorite tracks, believe it or not,
Alright,
Jeremy, on the iRacing service when it comes to the
Alright,
stock
sorry,
car
a little
racing
occupied.
scene.
Alright, so yeah, so we got a minute left for the qualifying. Full Throttle Sim Racing, Next Gen League. Broadcast brought to you by Nerditudes again tonight.
Whatever you want to call it.
They're back.
A lot of wheel spin off that corner as
And
Curtis, the number 98.
yeah, start of a new week.
And we're gonna look at Chris go off.
Finishing up here at Richmond, we took the win in the Xfinity race.
There's a little bit of a hump depending on how high you are up on the racetrack.
Hopefully we could do well again tonight as well.
Turn number 2, or you can get loose, especially on the long runs. And right here, look at how loose these guys are, Jeremy. Just as you talked about, that's
right now,
fourth guy I've seen in this session.
we are sitting P2 right now on the qualifying setup.
Is 2 has that hump.
I don't know.
Be going from a corner exit
Maybe.
all the way to a straightaway that's pretty much as straight as can be down the back straightaway, and then off turn number 4 as we look at the number 24 machine, it just kind of goes right into a dogleg D-type, usual tri-oval, but then that finish line comes up quicker than you think compared to it being in the center of the tri-oval here at Richmond. So this is a very unique short track. I always tended to do very good here, even when I was the last car in top split, when I was able to run top split with the iRating I had. It's one of my favorite tracks because I think that it's one of the more calmer short tracks. It's intense on the restarts.
Let's see what happens here.
The tire wear is obviously so significant here, especially with these next-gen cars, or really they're not even the new next-gen cars anymore. We've had a year under the belts with them here in iRacing. So looking for tire wear to be a factor here tonight, and you're going to see a lot of guys try to roll that bottom. Probably won't see a lot of guys up on the top side tonight, obviously due to this still having the old aero package compared to what the new aero package is for the NASCAR Cup Series this year.
Yeah, they gotta drop that.
We might have 2 laps, but I'm probably not going to use them both.
It comes out, it's not going to be called the next gen. So
we're going to either get the pole or wreck.
That's going to be the name for it. Has to be coming soon. And I'm glad you're good here. I'll let you call the technicality shots because I am hot garbage when it comes to Richmond. Back to the old NR 2003 days up until now on iRacing platform and every game in between that we've all played as sim drivers. I just never had a handle of this track, but we're going to be on board here with practice winner Brody Hanna, who did barely beat out his teammate Richie Coy in that practice session here.
Pretty good lap, I hope.
On his hot lap here on turn number 1. Comes up a little bit wide on that corner entrance. I wonder if he's trying to set up for lap 2.
Yeah, probably more than likely, Jeremy. I mean, lap 1, you really want to just try, to get everything you can. Like I say, with everybody else, I'm going to bring out Kevin Harvick's analogy as Brody Hanna. Look at the amount of guys that are just losing it off the corner. He loses it off turn 4. That's going to be a really bad qualifying lap for Brody, so he's probably more than likely going to start
Brody
back.
with an 028.
Reset and try to get
my own setup.
Or if not 2 laps here in qualifying. So Brody's going to try to get out for another lap, possibly, as he just currently sits on pit road, and he will. But still at the top, Richie Coy, last week's second place finisher to Nicholas Moreau. He's currently second up on the board. But as qualifying progressives, you're going to see a lot of guys kind of shift around on that.
I ran an 09 on my first lap and
there.
actually picked it up
You
to
can
an
just see
06 on
coming
the
off
second.
turn 4.
I guess I was a
Bring
little
some
too
Kevin Harvick
conservative.
analogy in here, like he was saying on Saturday's Xfinity Series race. Going into the corner, you want to be up on the brakes. You want to kind of ride that brake pedal down there to the inside. You see Brody really didn't do it there heading into 1 and 2. He's really loose off 2. This is not a good start here for Brody Hanna. But off 2, you want to kind of just gradually get back to the throttle. Make sure you can get back to full once you get over the bump. And the same thing for 3 and 4. You want to make sure that you can kind of roll with the brake going into 3 and 4 and easily get back on the throttle.
Remember to put your race setups in,
It
guys.
might not be full throttle if we do have any late runs, because the tires are going to wear out so much here that if you even remotely try to go full throttle, even
I don't feel as bad finishing third, starting third now. It's when I start second to him that I was
spinning out during the long run because the tires are wearing out so much. So these guys,
yeah, I'm not so bad when I wasn't in the pole this time.
Short track, one of the most original ones I'd like to say, and obviously, like I said, one of my favorite on the iRacing platform.
And I was really surprised with Brody Hanna's lap.
I did that on my last run in practice, trying to do qualifying run.
He got to the bottom of turn 3 and 4, and it looked like his car really hesitated on throttle. But you saw he did eventually.
I even said as I was going through 1 and 2, I'm like, well, I'm either going to put this on the pole or we're going to wreck. But when I came out of 4, it actually felt pretty good. So I was like, I'm going to do second.
21.9 second bracket of this session entirely. That, of course, going to Rocket Man Moreau that our producer Dustin Loxton has coined. 21.957 is going to be your hot lap here by Moreau. Richie Coy, though, going to be starting in third at the beginning or the inside of row number 2. And I mentioned it at the very beginning of the pre-race here, presented by Martin Sports. But Richie Coy and Nicholas Moreau, those two guys, the 15 and the 19, you really want to watch out for these two. They are 13 points separated in the points. The lead is to Richie Coy, 13 back to Nicholas Moreau. Last week's winner was Moreau. Second place was Richie Coy. And last year in 2022 B season for the Cup Series, Richie Coy won this race. Nicholas Moreau finished second. So I would expect these two guys to be neck and neck all race long. Halfway through the point season, they're going to put on a show for
Tony in 16th and Michael in 18th.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is going to be a really, really good race. Love me some short track racing. As you see, Justin Dilton, the number 91 machine, take his lap here in qualifying. That beautiful black and gray Ford Mustang, or I think he might be completing here. He looks a little slow, and I believe, yes, he did complete it. So we'll see where that puts him up on the board. But yeah, Jeremy, like we just talked about, these guys are in for a handful tonight. And depending on, like I said, with the green flag runs, if we don't get cautions early on, and if we do have that, capability of running these green flag runs like they should, the tires are going to wear out significantly.
Race setups, guys.
These guys are going to struggle in the late run.
Yeah, the late run is... I mentioned the corners being flat and wide. If you try to carry a lot of speed, you have to be loose to run the car fast. And if your car's tight, you can just forget about your front tires existing about 3/4 of the way through the run. It'll chew them up. You will lose a lot of grip, in which you will see throughout the course of 250 laps here at Richmond. But we are on the grid getting set up for the race. So we're going to go down your starting lineup here of the 26 entries for the Richmond 250 at FTSR Mach 1 Cup Series. Nicholas Moreau is going to take P1. Brody Hanna is going to start in second place. Richie Coy, second row on the inside. Lane Allen, pretty good qualifying time for him tonight, going to start in fourth. Fifth place, Wayne Grossi. Sixth place, TJ Bartel. Seventh place, Brandon Elder. Eighth place, Stephen Lou Allen. Starting in ninth, Chris Beck. And to round out the starting order for the top 10 spot, Steve Loomis.
And then to round out your top 20, you got 11th, Brian Dublé, the number 37. Sherwood Williford, back in the Good Run Service Plus Taz Machine, 13th. Ryan Hedrick, Colton Gum in 14th. 15th, Josh Mayu, Tony Solari there, the number 11 machine.
Okay, yeah, so we got Chris Curtis here going to start in 17th, Michael Blackner in 18th, Joshua Johnson's going to start in 19th, Justin Leash starting in 20th, Timothy Stubblefield 21st, Robert Malek in 22nd.
Nice laps, front row. Good luck, everyone.
23rd. Justin Diltz, 24th. James Wallace did not qualify. Looks like he's going to be starting in 25th if he gets on the track. And Alan Crowell, being the caboose more times than not here, not posting a qualifying time, is going to start and route out your 26th race field here. And as these guys are about to roll, they're going to take one pace lap, I believe, and then we're going to see green flag action here. Pretty eventful this past week. If you were to tune in for the FTSR broadcast, Goon Squad took over for one race for us. And we saw some quite, if you guys were here, you guys saw some quite entertaining racing overall at Texas. That track is not favorable to a lot of drivers. It's very plain Jane boring. It's a hamburger without cheese. It's just single file on the bottom, and that's
long
it.
little dump.
And these guys put on a pretty decent show. Had some late race discrepancies, but it made for an entertainment race for the broadcast nonetheless. But Cup Series is where it's at.
Button?
I think this race is going to top that because it's a short track race
Okay.
for starters. And then with this mid-season points battle here between the 19 to the 15 and everybody else trying to redeem themselves, it should be a good one here.
Yeah, definitely should be a good
once
one.
again, welcome to Monday night, full throttle sim racing, next gen Cup Series, Mach 1 Performance Cup Series. Broadcast is brought to you by Nerditudes.
Type of racetrack, I expect
broadcast is a second or two behind.
Second pace lap. It is a short track. I should have known that they're doing 2 laps, so this will be your final.
Broadcast is by Nerditudes, so check them out. But again, it's going to be about a second or two delayed. But anyway, we're going green.
A year and a half I've been here. I see Nicholas Moreau.
Good luck, guys.
To a huge advantage. We're going to see Richie Coy come too late to run and wind him back in slowly. Brody Hanna's probably going to put a good battle here on the 15 early on, trying to get an early jump. If you can get that launch off of turn 2 on 15 side by side, you might have a great chance to maybe take over the 15, getting going into 3 and 4, and inevitably at the start-finish line. We got some activity on our chats. Well, before we take the green flag, Coaster fan Leo saying, "Let's go, Stubbs." And of course, the wife, Jessica Stubblefield, to Timothy Stubblefield, also saying, "Stubbs." Of course, who else would you root for? Green flag is out. 250 laps underway here at Richmond. 15 and Nicholas Moreau gets a good start over the 23. Brody Hanna clears them early into turn 1 and off of turn 2. We already got a 2-car length advantage there, Jason.
Yeah, Nicholas Moreau shot out like a cannon there, about a car length gap between him and Brody Hanna. Richie Coy going to slot in to that 3rd spot. Stephen Allen there trying to get down to the inside of the racetrack. Almost a little bit of contact with him and Wayne Rossi. He's got TJ Bartell there up on his outside as they head into turns 1 and 2 now. Richie Coy starting to get away from those 2 cars, battling as Rossi and Allen battling down the back straightaway into turn number 3.
This is for your top 5. Wayne Grossi does clear the 14 of Lane Allen. That's going to move the 7 up to 4th place. He's going to make an early attempt to get himself into the top 3. Early on, though, we see everybody single file all the way through until you get to about 16th place. You got Josh Mayu alongside Mr. Michael Blackner. Actually, no, I'm sorry, that's not Michael Blackner. As they're going through the backstretch here, you can see the 02. Mayu does
got a little loose there.
Clear over the
Nice save.
over the 67 or 87 rather than 98. Chris Curtis here now making that pass as the inside is definitely prevalent here early on at Richmond. Not much that middle to upper groove here. So right now the 87 right now in a little bit of trouble early on.
Yeah, definitely in a little bit of trouble. You don't want to be in trouble too early on here at Richmond because track position, yes, it is key, even though you do have the tires that obviously play into factor. But still, though, you don't want to have trouble earlier on at Richmond because next thing you know, you spin out, you hit the wall, you go a lap, 2 laps, 3 laps down. The track's very short. German, we're already about to click on. As you see one car up into the wall there, that is the number 87 machine right there of Michael Blackner down to the wall off turn number 2. Don't know if that's going to be too much damage as he's under fire now from the number 39 machine as he goes down to the inside of the racetrack. Hard hit there for the 87 off turn number 2. Like I said, not sure if it's going to be enough damage, but if it is, that's going to be a hard hit that could definitely play a really bad factor for him later on in this race.
Just see what happens right now. He just got absolutely freight trained. Usually don't see that at Richmond, but that is the case. Blackner falls back 3 to 4 spots there within the matter of 2 laps. He did such an awesome job. Shout out to Blackner, by the way, in that truck series race this past Wednesday. Late race caution took away his win. I think he had almost a 10-second advantage with, 13 laps to go. Caution came out, and he finished outside the top 5, and that's just sometimes that's sim racing or any racing in general, where you have a setup and 1 caution flag can ruin it all for you. So Michael Blackner not in a good starting spot here tonight. Already dropped 3 spots since the drop of the green flag 8 laps ago. He's got some work to do to that 87 Red Bull machine to get himself back at least into the top 10.
Yeah, for sure. You want to try to be on point at all times here tonight at Richmond, Germany. But look at Nicholas Moreau already jumping out to a huge lead over Richie Coy in that number 19 machine. Richie, obviously, you talked about him earlier, Jeremy. Richie is known for kind of reeling in drivers in the long run, kind of one of the guys to look out for when it comes to tire conservation. Nick, very, very strong on the short runs. Obviously, we're 10 laps in. Tires play a huge factor here. Larry Mack said it on Sunday. The tires here are like a cheese grater, like most of the tracks with worn-out abrasive surfaces. And you see the Haskell, New Jersey native Richie Coy trying to reel back in Nicholas Moreau, currently back by just a little over 2 seconds. But look at who's currently in third, Jeremy. Wayne Grossi, talked about him, one to watch, was very strong. Unfortunate break for him lately going in Phoenix earlier this season. Here he is right now, finding himself on the 3rd place on the podium if this were to end, but still a long, long way to go here tonight at Richmond.
Yeah, Wayne Grossi is definitely trying to put himself into the top 5. Runs pretty good on these short tracks. He just needs to complete the race, and right now he's doing a pretty good job early on. Got some great speed, putting pressure on that 19 Richie Coy. And yeah, Nicholas Moreau already out to almost 2.5-second advantage over your 2nd place. This is exactly what I expected here. Late in the going, we'll see how exactly this is going to work out. I know it's going to take about 25, 30 laps before we start seeing that 19 Richie Coy start to progress forward. But that same token, you're having some heavy pressure on the backside here with Wayne Grossi. So this might, not allow Richie to drive outside of his windshield, more so in the rearview mirror. He's a little loose there off of turn 2. And so you can definitely tell he's mirror driving at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously that's enabling Wayne to really, kind of catch up to Richie's back bumper. Look to the inside, kind of one driver really loose there off the corner. That looked to be Bartel there off the corner, or Llewellyn, one or the other there off turn number 2. And that was Bartel there. TJ Bartel, the number 30. Good save there off turn number 2. Now about to get passed by Steve Llewellyn there up on the outside, but he's going to challenge back down to the bottom of the racetrack, closing up to the bumper of Steve Allen there off.
Block him once.
Still side by side though for position. They're swapping back and forth on the leaderboard. Bartel and Llewellyn going at it here as they're heading their way off turn number 4 to lap number 16.
Still side by side, heading off into turn number 1. Llewellyn not giving up on the top, but we know that this is not good for his tires. But this 24, he loves the middle to upper lanes when he can run it. Even at Richmond here, where not a lot of drivers can do it. Steve Llewellyn is showing TJ Bartel, hey, I'm a challenge here. You're going to pass me the hard way. If you're going to get to the bottom, you're going to have to work for it. And right now, he is still holding up 2 laps now of complete side-by-side action. Almost decided if they wanted to split the 14 there, laying out. Looks like he was a little slow off of turn 4. He gets his car back to speed coming through the backstretch here. Still side-by-side, Jason, entering 3.
Yeah, and Steven's just trying to really pack some air on that left rear there on Stephen Llewellyn there. That's TJ Bartel, excuse me, to the inside of the racetrack on Allen. Really shoots it in, almost gets into the 14 there of Allen on the inside of the racetrack as Allen looks to make a pass here on Brody Hanna. This
put a little air in the left rear. It should probably tighten it up a little bit.
Hanna tried to kind of get lower and try to block Allen's run there off the corner. Allen loose. Looks like he's going to take that 4th spot away from Hanna as they enter into turn number 1. But Hanna going to try to come back around him on the outside the middle lane. Now he'll chop off Stephen Llewellyn as they work off the back straightaway there on the corner.
I wonder if Brody Hanna changed his setup. He spun out in that qualifying lap, but I wonder if he went a little too conservative with the wedge adjustment or whatever he needed to do to tighten that 23 Ford Mustang up. Had saw him quite a bit in that practice, get a little loose off these corners, but right now that car is just dropping back and I think he's just running extra tight as he gets a little tight there off of turn 2, try to avoid the wall. So the 24 Lou Allen's going to go underneath him. TJ Bartell in the 30 is now going to try to make that pass effort. This is going to drop Brody Hanna back to 7th place. 21 laps in, he did start 2nd, back to 7th. We usually don't see Brody Hanna drop back this far, but then also the 19 of Richie Coy, similar situation. He was there, but Wayne Grossi got the best of him, and then he quickly got passed up by the 14 of Lane Allen. Now the similar story here with the 19 of the Fury Motorsports camp. 19 dropping back a few spots as well.
Yeah, I tell you what, heads up by those drivers of Elder and Beck right behind Brody Hanna, as Hanna got really loose off the corner. Just like he did a little bit of contact made between him and Beck. Sherwood Williford had to back up the corner. That 23 machine is in big trouble. And the 44 up the racetrack, 3 wide for position off turn number 4. Sherwood Williford all the way to the bottom of the racetrack. This might not work, boys. Be careful. Going into turns 1 and 2, Sherwood not heads up to him. Right there, he gets the nod. He's able to back up into the corner, make sure that nobody had any sort of calamity into the corner. Well, Jeremy, this is that time of the race now. We're about to be 25 laps in.
Definitely feels like the track has changed.
That 23 car, he might have been good on the start. Same with Richie Coy. They're starting to fall back like a sack of rocks if he just dropped them from the top of a cliff right now, because everybody is just putting them under fire here. Coming to lap 25 of 250 here tonight at Richmond.
Yeah, worst case scenario for the 23 especially, running a little tight early on, and now the rear tires have had enough. And now he's starting to, he's tight on the front and he's extra loose on the rear now just with excess tire spin on the corner exit. So you can't drive in, you can't drive off, the car's just falling back like a rock, like you said. Now he's like, oh, it's 23 Brody Hanna once again getting loose off of turn 2. He's going to allow Sherwood Williford to pass on the bottom, or on the top rather. But 23 able to maintain ground on the 17 of Steve Loomis and 47 of Brian Dublé here. As those guys are now side by side.
Hey, Tommy, what's going on, man?
Brian Hedrick, not Brian Dublé, I apologize.
Come to see me go backwards?
That purple car, that's actually right behind.
We're a little off on our setup today.
7's on your screen right now. But Brody Hanna now getting passed by the 47 of Hedrick, coming through 3. This is not a good scenario early on for Brody Hanna.
Yeah, definitely not. I wonder if our producer Dustin could possibly make us go on board that number 23 machine from possibly maybe the driver's point of view. Just see how much he's struggling as we do ride on board Brody Hanna. Shout out to Dustin, always got the best angles. You see right here off turn 2, kind of under fire right now from Loomis there in that number 17 machine. Yeah, you can just see right now, Jeremy, Brody is just really struggling here off turn number 4. He's definitely just trying to ease himself right now, hoping that a caution comes out, hopefully that maybe he could just make it to the green flag pit cycle if there are no yellows. But right now, Brody Hanna really struggling as he heads off turn number 2, just getting past car after car right now. And now Torgerson, the number 39 machine, looks to the inside of the racetrack. Dublé just got by him.
Yeah, usually it's fun. Tonight, not so much.
Rock right now. That crew needs to take a big swing out of that number 23 if they want to try to be in contention tonight for a top 10, even a top 5 here tonight, because they are really struggling here late in the going on this 30-lap run.
Brody Hanna needs some ultra focus right now to keep that car underneath him. And one thing he would need in that car to do so is get a cup of roasted Gems coffee, offered premium quality, ethically produced coffee gems from different parts of the world, coupled with delicious blends and flavors that'll make your taste buds melt with delight. Roasted Gems Coffee is the only place to quench your caffeinated coffee desires. They value your coffee experience with each order roasted to perfection and shipped straight to your door for peak flavor. So whether you need a small hint of caffeine...
Yeah, normally, Tommy, it's way more fun than it is here.
However you need to start your morning.
Not having fun at all. Tonight, car is just hard.
Super nerds at checkout, 10% off anything you purchase. Which they have a lot of different flavors. So he's trying a few bags because he's definitely worth it. Back to the racing action here. Brody still falling back now. Falls to the clutches of Joshua Johnson, who is in 18th place. That puts Brody Hanna from 2nd place 32 laps ago back to 18th place. Now getting passed up by 19th place Colton Gum. 23 is just not having it. Almost looks like he loaded the wrong setup. I have never seen Brody drop back this far. This is really impressive stuff here.
Car
Richie
inside,
Coy as well,
clear low.
3rd place. He started. He's back to 10th. Not as bad as his teammate, but him himself also falling back. The only person that really is Tony.
Just tight in the center and it's loose off,
Well, he started
Still
16th.
there.
which is like the worst possible thing that it could be here at Richmond.
Right now, and this is
Clear to the
great
bottom.
news for
Carlo.
Nicholas Moreau, who I said in the beginning of the
Clear to the
program.
bottom.
He has 13 points.
We're just started third, already back to 12th.
If he continue this run, which right now, Jason, he still has a 4.5 second
steady.
lead over the 14 of Lane Allen.
Still there.
Yeah, that's just
Clear
really
low.
interesting there. And you know, the 14th.
It's falling like a rock.
Like I said, you know, like the whole field is, you know,
Still there.
it's just trying to
Clear to
really
the
hope
bottom.
for a caution, try to see if they can make any adjustments to try to catch Nicholas Moreau in that number 15 machine. But I mean, we
Inside.
all know, and even the viewers know, Nicholas Moreau is so fast. You know, it's just crazy to see,
Clear low.
you know, how good he is. I mean, last week, a winner in the Cup Series at COTA. He's trying to go back-to-back here tonight at the Richmond Raceway in Richmond, Virginia. But I tell you what, you talk about Roasted Gems Coffee, that 23 of Brody Hanna, he's still falling back. And so is the 19 of Richie Coys. We're starting to see
14.
some green flag
That was
pit stops. One driver, I believe that was number 87 machine, heading into the pits. But like I was saying, Richie Coy and Brody Hanna, they're going to need some extra black Roasted Gems Coffee if they want to try to make it to the end of this and get a good finish. No sugars necessary. They are really struggling right now on speed, and I wonder if those guys really did put in a wrong setup, maybe took a big swing at it after practice. You never know, especially with these open setups, because everybody drives their cars differently. But yeah, big.
There is no track bar in these cars.
You can see the number 19 and the 23 machine, 2 of the fastest guys.
It's the next gen car.
Performance Cup Series field dropping back so far here early on. We're not even halfway through this Richmond event tonight.
And you saw the 87 of Blackner, you mentioned him making that early first.
I wish there was a track bar.
Under green flag conditions. That is not scheduled by any means. These guys are only allowed 36. They can probably go double that distance easy. To see him on pit road so early, that tells me that Michael Blackner was having some major car handling issues. He was almost a lap down before he came down pit road, Jason, so I know that car is just not where it needs to be. Maybe he got loose a couple times, had to lock up the front tires, who knows, but put himself 2 laps down early on here. I know he's got over 200 laps left
Carlo.
to recoup anything if he can, but
Still
if you know
there.
FTSR, you know cautions they
Still
come at a
there.
premium. You don't see them too often.
Hold
The
your
last
line.
month I think was a fluke, but
Clear inside.
If you get it, take it.
these guys are really spaced out. We got a good race here, really 3rd through 5th. That's probably the best action on the track.
Yeah, me neither.
4:30.
Not this bad anyway.
And coming up through here, the 44 of Chris
Keep it
Beck and the
steady.
51 of Brandon Elder.
Clear low.
Really, just for the top 5, this is actually going to become a pretty good race.
Yeah, the 24 Jeremy's hit the wall the last 2 times off turns 2 and off turns 4. That car is really struggling right now. And here comes TJ Bartell to the inside of him. He'll pick up that podium position. Big moment there for the 24 off turns 2 and 4 that last time around, that last lap. Everybody's starting to struggle a lot on tire wear, so everybody really wants to make sure that they can get a caution soon. You see Wade Rossi in the 7 machine also falling back a little bit after, you know, getting up to the front.
Jesus, in the wall again.
Elder Beck, they're fighting for position. And Sherwood Wilford, I kept talking about him, Jeremy, in the pre-race, and even now, he's coming up through the field right now. He's sitting at 8th spot. Don't count him out, man. I'm telling you, one move, one mistake, one strategy call by other drivers up in front of him later on in this race. And Sherwood Williford very well could be a Mach 1 Cup Series, or Mach 1 Performance Cup Series race winner here tonight from the virtual Richmond Raceway. He's been so strong. That number 33 Goodwrench Plus Taz Chevy Camaro is always strong. He's definitely one to look for on the short tracks, along with Wayne.
All you're doing, dude, is slowing us both down here.
Richie not really a factor here. Like we thought he was going to be early on. We're 44 laps into this event, and Richie Coy is still falling back. Brody Hanna kind of just, you know, maintained right now, just barely right now inside the top 20, currently sitting in that last position, which would be the 20th position for the top 20. So those 2 guys struggling, everybody really struggling here with grip. You just see how high, how low some of these guys are off
Left rear perch.
under caution. Pits
Speaking of
closed.
car handling issues, off of turn number 2, the first caution presented by Roasted Gems Coffee is out, and this is going to be by Alan Crowell on the
Pits are open.
41 Ford Mustang. Comes off of turn number 2 and gets loose. Actually hits the wall, I apologize, and then got hit in the back there by...
You're joking, right?
In the 91, it sends the 41 around to the inside, just below the yellow line there. And that's going to be the first caution tonight. And actually, that was the 22 of Robert.
If you don't get tires, you're going to go backwards.
Contact there on the back end, you see him on board. Boom, hits the wall hard, and then just the 22 had nowhere to go. You cannot stop in that short amount of time. Sends them through to the backstretch inside area, and that's going to be the first caution here tonight.
Yeah, unfortunate circumstances. Everybody now comes down to take their yellow flag stops. First real pit stops here of the night. I'm sure that, you know, drivers like Richie Coy and Brody Hanna are very pleased to see that yellow because they were still falling back. Brody, like I said, currently still sitting in 20th, and Richie Coy fell back a little bit, just about borderline, I think, top 15. So
Yeah, these cars tell me they're a breed on to their own.
praise the
They're
Lord that they
horrible.
got that caution, man, because they really need it. They're going to try to take some big swings at their machines here. Just 47 laps into this race, Jeremy. You're starting to see who the players really are, and imagine if we do get a green flag run, the amount of strategy that can play, and that was going to be how
Your
it
pit
was,
now, it should be an open
Sunday's,
pit, open.
Cup Series event in real life at Richmond. Had it not been yellow flag filled, you saw guys trying to pit early. You saw guys get the undercut. Michael McDowell and Josh Berry, they stayed out long enough later on in their run to try to hope for a caution. They got it, and Michael McDowell, top 10. Josh Berry, highest career finish for him. Second, subbing in for Chase Elliott. Kyle Larson picked up the win.
I'm not sure I was too far in front of you.
Jeremy, be the way that this is. This track, as racy as it can be with the tire wear and the different strategies.
I'm in 17th right now.
So abrasive, and the way that the laps are, we very well could see a strategy race.
So I just made a left rear air pressure and spring for exchange.
Over the last few years, ever since I want to say it was about maybe 2018 is when you really stopped seeing the strategy, not stopped, you really started to see the strategy really play into effect. You didn't see nearly as many
Crossweight, but
you saw in years prior. Nowadays,
yeah.
It's really just all about strategy here at Richmond. As you see the 23 Brody Hanna with that struggles he's had here tonight back on pit road. But we very well could see a strategic race here later on in the going.
I did the perch to try to get the car to rotate a little bit better.
So strategy already in the...
I did the tire to try to get it off the corner a little bit.
Not pitting with the leaders when he was on the lead lap.
Fortunately,
his bonus point to lead a lap, come down pit road. He was basically already in last place, so that was a no-brainer call to stay out, get that 1 point.
Okay, Richie, get ready.
You know,
Race
just
will
help
resume
out
at
the
the end of this
championship
lap.
race.
One of us did it right, one of us did it wrong then.
Yeah, don't forget to, I don't think I mentioned it earlier on, but stage brake is going to be on lap.
You're trying to, are you using the spring perch to try to tighten it up?
49, so we got 22.
All right, I did the left rear to try to loosen it up getting in the corner.
So I did notice too, Lane Allen in the 14, he had made up over 2 seconds on that 15 of Nicholas Moreau. Just late run, just saved all the grip for the end of the run. Was catching
That's
the
it.
15.
Keep throwing shit at the wall until something
15 always
sticks.
seemed to slow down during the longer.
Or the checkered flag comes out, one of the two.
For a while, but I think that caution would have not flown, Jason.
Green, green,
Jason
clear high.
potentially get around that 15 and make that pass.
Yeah, we'll have to see if Allen's going to be able to try to challenge Nicholas Moreau. Obviously, now everybody's on a fresh set of Goodyear.
Oh, nice. 3 wide. Gotta love that.
Restart. So maybe Allen does have something for the 15. What we've seen on these short runs, Jeremy, that 15 of Nicholas Moreau is really, really strong. And they're coming into the Geico restart zone. The green flag's back out here at Richmond.
Green flag is out. The 15 with the major jump at the start. I don't know if that was actually a jump or the 14 just forgot to go, but it's going to allow the 15 Moreau to get a 2-car length advantage over the 14 Lane Allen. The top 5 quickly go single file, but everybody else behind them is going to be 2 by 2 by 2, coming off through 3 and 4 this time. Big race here is mid pack. Several guys side by side still coming through turns 1 and 2. And you see the intensity pick up a little bit because I know they got 20 laps before the stage break. So expect these guys to run a little harder than what we did in that first one.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be running a little bit harder, knowing that these playoff points, whatever you want to call them, are on the line. 3 wide behind them.
I don't understand the dive bomb move.
Looks like Mayu and Loomis, or if not, it was Tony Solari there in the number 11 machine. They were 3 wide for a moment there, heading into turns 3 and 4. They kind of settled back down. More 3 wide racing behind them. Big moves, and the 11 into the wall, off the corner. You're going to see a lot of that. Some of these guys not doing so much giving. They're doing a whole heck of a lot.
And that's express oral or his consent of Richie Coy, notwithstanding of Full Throttle Sim Racing.
Right now is going to be driving like a bat out of hell. He's trying the best he can to move his way up through the field after a very struggling first stint here at Richmond. But you could just tell, Jeremy, that number 19, DeWalt Ford Mustang, is still struggling here. Just 54, now about to put 55 laps on the board here tonight at Richmond.
What no better time than to turn up the tune segment. We're going to listen to all the sounds of these cars go around this just underneath a mile track here at Richmond Race. So we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Son of a bitch.
Still there.
No, go, 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 go. Got me. I just ran into the fence by myself. I think Tony's me, and now I'm Tony.
Hold your line. Clear inside.
And that was turn up the twos here. We got to listen to all these cars. Really close battle all the way through. I know they were single file, but those guys are
You did too, man. What the hell?
about a car length at most, separating most of the field here, except for these front runners like Moreau, Lane Allen, TJ Bartel, who's currently in 3rd place. Wayne Grossi still sitting in 4th. Top 5, top 10 really separated for that mid-pack. Looking pretty strong here. We're currently coming up to lap 65, so we got 6 laps remaining before we can hit this stage break. And Nicholas Moreau is in a pretty good spot here, Jason.
It's gonna take him a couple of laps to get by me, apparently.
This guy has been lights out the last 2 weeks. He's pretty much led every single lap here today, I believe, so far, even with that caution. But don't count out Allen right there, and that number 14 machine, Jeremy, he's been really trying to kind of, you know, be on the binders and really reel in that number 15 machine here late
A little bit.
in the first stage run.
Like more than I think we've ever missed it before.
Close that gap in on Moreau out of anybody who's been in that second and third spot. And even TJ Bartell there in that number 30 machine, he's kind of closed up a little bit. So Moreau not really getting away as much as he did on that first run. Maybe
adjusting my brakes.
if Moreau does slip up a little bit here with just a handful of laps to go, maybe Allen can try to pass him, if not contend for that stage win.
Yeah, he's got a lot of work to do. Obviously, his long run is key. It's there. We saw it. He was catching 15 Nicholas Moreau like no other in the last 5 laps or so before that caution that came out. But the short run, he has not proven any speed, and we have 3 laps left before we're going to see this caution. So the 14 can just throw out 3 qualifying efforts here and get to the back bumper of 15. Might see a nice little exchange here before the caution does fly, but I just don't see it happening with the road just being so stout here on these short runs. Looking on back here, looks like the 39 Troy Torgerson making a pass effort here. Coming through turn 4 and onto the front stretch, does make the pass over Brandon Elder complete. 2 laps to go for a stage break. The admins have thrown the closed pit road sign. You know, not allowed to pit within 2 laps of the caution here. So you guys are locked into where they are sitting until the caution does fly. Everybody right now single
No.
go the next final lap.
Yeah, Sherwood, though, he could be really under fire here from Josh Mayu there in that number 02 machine. He's right up on that back bumper. Sherwood trying to make a pass here on Elder in the 57 machine. The 02 is going to go from top down to the bottom, a little bit of crossover action, and he's actually going to get there. No,
Carnage?
he won't. Yes, he will. Inside of the racetrack, Sherwood tries the block going into 3. It's going to work. Sherwood's still going to hang on to that position. Good driving out of Sherwood Williford here late in the going in this little stage as the Road to Jim's Coffee caution flag has just flown, and that will conclude stage number 1.
All right, I was making another adjustment.
Out front, that number 15, but the 14 of Allen closing in ever so slightly there late in the going, Jeremy.
10 stage points awarded to Nicholas.
I just undid one of my
Different
things, and now I'm
throughout the top 10
trying
here.
something
Closed
that
out
you
stage
did,
1 and
but I've now
moved
lowered the
first
brakes
commercial
almost
break.
2% from the beginning of the race.
Until the green flag does fly. So we'll be back with you guys after a few messages.
Haha, you got me. You stayed out on the track and led the lap, right? You didn't go down pit road? Did you get a penalty? Okay. I gotta remember to pit this lap now.
Full course yellow, pits are open. Watch your speed. We don't have that data.
Wait, I'm behind you. Yeah, there's some stuff going on. Off we are. Yeah, who you calling a moron? They don't even know.
Pits are open. Get ready. Race will resume at the end of this lap.
And we're back to full screen coverage here for Full Throttle Sim Racing Mach 1 Performance Cup Series. We're about a lap or two away from seeing the green flag for stage number 2. We're going to kick it over to our Nerd TV Top 10 recap to look over the top 10 drivers. Before we go back to green flag, Nicholas Moreau, P1 on the grid to start the race, still P1. Show class in the field right now. Lane Allen's doing a hell of a job right now holding up
92.
so well. TJ Bartell running a really strong race himself. Started 6th, now currently 3rd. Wayne Grossi, 4th place. Stephen Lou Allen still remaining inside the top 5. He's had a spotty day today. 6th place, Chris Beck. 7th place in your highest mover, Troy Torgerson, 23rd starting. Now resides in 7th place. 8th place, Mr. Brandon Elder. 9th place, Sherwood Williford up 3 spots.
Thank you, sir.
Starting lineup. And 5 spots gained.
I'm not sure I want it.
02. That's going to round out your Nerd TV Top 10
Johnson
recap.
is closing
Perfect
in.
transition
The gap
back
is
into
now
the start of the green
0.38.
flag.
Sorry, Michael. Nice job.
Nicholas Moreau, the same restart as did last time, which someone just shot him out of a cannon. Already 2 car lengths entering turn 1 over now. Bartell and Lane Allen, as those guys are side by side, Jason, exiting turn 2.
Yeah, Bartell really gave Allen a run for his money here off turn number 2. Big crash right to the back. They save it, but oh my goodness, what a hit for Sherwood Williford there. Got up into the wall with another driver. I believe that was Elder, the number 51 machine. Wow, Jeremy, that could have been the first real major incidents here as we take a look at the Nerd TV replay. I think the 33 machine thought he was clear. The 51 might have bounced off the wall, not too sure. But the 33 came up, got into the 51 machine, hooked them both into the
Not sure what that was.
Number 2 down the back straightaway. They were able to save it, and they keep on racing here as we're on lap 79 out of 250. Heads up driver by both of those guys.
I'm not sure what happened on that exchange. I'm going back and looking at the replay myself, trying to get every angle possible. And Sherwood Williford was on the back straightaway. He was dead straight. You're probably going to see it here. He was straight as an arrow. There was no problem wrong, nothing wrong with his car, right? You're going to see it comes off nice and straight and just yanks the car to the right. I don't know if that was severely late tire spin or if that was just Sherwood Williford turning the wheel to the right. Either way, you typically don't see that kind of incident almost entering turn 3. Such a late way to dive the car to the top, and yeah, that's heavy contact there between Brandon Elder and Sherwood Williford.
Yeah, and it's not, and we all know Sherwood is a very good driver. That's not like Sherwood at all. I mean, he's been so strong ever since I joined you guys here over at Nerd TV, and I've seen him consistently week in and week out, always be strong here in the Mach 1 Performance Cup Series. That's very hot, Jeremy, and it really could be just late tire spin, maybe due to the setup with the fresh tires or whatnot. Off the corner, you know, he just tries to get on the gas. Maybe he did try to, you know, make himself clear, try to maybe get a better mark from the track and pitch the 51 up a little higher than he would. And maybe the thing just snapped on him right there down the back straightaway, because I've seen that happen. The only car I've ever driven on my racing, that I've ever driven myself personally, that I've seen do that, I believe was the really old, I think, man, I want to say it was basically the Nationwide Series car that they introduced in 2010 when they went from the Gen 4 bodies to those Cup Series style bodies that they ran in 2011. Those were the only cars that I've really ever seen that ever jolted like that to the right. So that was very interesting right there. But still heads up driving by the 33 and the 51 machine to
Wreck, backstretch.
16th, and Sherwood Williford still hanging on to that top 10 right now, but he's still under fire from the number 37 machine of Dublé there off turn number 4.
Those Nationwide cars were the ugliest cars I have seen in NASCAR today. I went back and did my homework because I was really curious about how the 33 and the 51 made that contact, and I went on board with the 33. And yeah, he was. Oh, we got a wreck action on the backstretch here, right in front of Brandon Elder. Looks like Chris Curtis in the 98. Gonna involve Brody Hanna in the 23 as well, coming off a turn 2, being the troublesome corner tonight. This time it looks like the 23 got loose, hit the right side there of the 98 Chris Curtis, sends those twos around. It's going to bring out the third caution tonight. You see it right there on the Nerd TV replay. Just gave the 98 no room. It looked like to me the 23.
What the hell?
A little bit of tire spin off of turn 2. And that's
What's this, F1 where you give everybody their spot back?
Made that contact, and it sends it both to the outside wall.
Yeah, that was interesting. Because it's not like the 23 hit the wall. It was really just caused by tire spin there off the corner. Chris Curtis, unfortunate victim there. Not really anything he could do besides hang on along for the ride here. You see the 23, yeah, just wheel spin, and unfortunately gets...
He'd be more like, well, he'd be more like Fernando, who got all his spots back. Or Stroll.
Contact with the 98 of Chris Curtis there down the back straightaway.
Yeah, it's becoming a thing here up at turn 2 to have that tire spin. I was talking about...
I still can't believe they did that.
And yeah, he actually hesitated. He did not get on full throttle, 100% throttle, until halfway down the back straightaway. And that's what caused the tire spin. He did lose the car control.
Yeah, we're not even close to halfway.
That's what I was talking about right before that caution happened. And similar thing here, a little bit earlier on exit, of course, but 23 just getting onto the throttle. And I figured turn 4 would be the problem watching practice, but no, turn 2 seems to be the troublesome child when it comes to lack of tire grip off the corner exit.
Yeah, it definitely has been. I mean, turn 4, we haven't really seen any issues here tonight, like you said, Jeremy, that we might see. I mean, we still could see that very well. I mean, you know, but really the instances that was happening was in practice and qualifying when these guys were trying to make mock Q runs, and when they were making their actual qualifying runs off turn 4 due to the fresh and cold tires. That's really what plays a factor in why those guys get so loose off turn number 4. It's not really because of the worn tires per se. I mean, it does play a factor later on, but you're not nearly as loose as you are on cold tires. And that's really what plays factor there off turn number 4. But off turn 2, you're getting loose because of that hump. You're hitting the wall, or you're just straight up losing it because of the transition from the banking to the hump.
And Fernando got completely spun out. They gave him back to third.
So that's really where everything...
I finally figured it out. iRacing is run by the FIA.
Pretty much 2 or 3 instances. So that probably could play a factor. And hey, Jeremy, last time we went to a short track type racetrack was obviously...
Fernando Alonso.
I believe. And remember what happened late in the going there? The 15... got up into the wall. It caused a big wreck there off the corner due to the transition and because of the drivers trying to be spread out and just no room. That very well could happen if we do get a late race caution and a late race restart, and Nicholas Moreau might get taken out. Maybe some other guys.
No, not right now, but he keeps hitting that he's got a ride for next year already.
Yeah, that was a huge moment back in Phoenix where Nicholas Moreau led 153 laps to that race. Completely dominated.
I think he's going to end up moving over to AlphaTauri, take like Sunoki's spot or something.
2 laps down.
Sonoda, whatever his name is.
You know, anything's possible on that.
Sunoku.
Similar banking transition here at Richmond. The banking, I think, is within just a couple of degrees. I'm not completely mistaken. So a lot of different scenarios. This track doesn't drive the Phoenix, of course, but with the stiff suspension, if you do happen to dip your tires below the yellow line, you may as well, you know, just hang on for the ride at that point. That car is probably not going to survive it running these speeds around the corner. You know, the lack of suspension travel that these cars have could provide some issues tonight, but hopefully that's not the case. You see the pace car does dip down.
Oh, is that me?
Gonna see if Nicholas Moreau can get a great...
Yeah, that's me, sorry.
The past 2 restarts, and not as good of a start, but still clears second place now. TJ Bartel entering turn number 1 and 14.
I didn't even know that was you.
30 stays up to the second groove here, coming off of turn 2. The 30 with a great launch off of 2. Going to keep us up in front of the 14, entering 3.
Yeah, that was really interesting. Surprised 30 didn't try the crossover there off turn number 2.
Now I'm freaking tight off the corner.
He's getting those really good runs because of that middle to top lane, especially off turn number 2. Thought he could have tried to cross over. Probably would have gotten a better exit, if not would have gotten to the 15th left rear quarter panel there, just like he kind of did right there, as Nicholas Moreau barely makes contact with the outside retaining wall off 2. And Bartel right now trying to close the gap. He's been so strong here these last handful of laps.
Because I was trying to leave room for him.
he might be able to kind of challenge Nicholas Moreau here if we do get a long green flag run, and so could Lane Allen in that number 14 machine. He's been so strong all night. He's had the pace, we've seen it, just haven't been able to get the long enough green flag runs that he's been needing to try to pass Nicholas Moreau in the number 15 machine as they're single file off throughout the field as they work their way onto lap number 94 as they head their way into turns number 1 and 2.
Yeah, the real good race here is just outside top 10, 10th, 11th place. Finally sorting things out here as they were side by side for quite a few laps. Actually, Josh Mayo is under attack here with Colton Gum still. Actually, still going side by side here for 10th place. Single file 9th through up. Looks like Steve Loomis falls back behind the 47, so really the only 2x2 at the moment. It's going to be this main battle here, 10th and 11th, and then back in 16th place, I do believe I see them trying to figure out who's going to pass who. Looks like it's the 23 of Brody Hanna, followed up with 22 of Robert Malikin here as 22 has the preferred lane, passes Brody Hanna at the bottom. They go single file. And we're already starting to see some tire spinning issues here on corner exit, so this track has just got nothing but more slick chasing out here.
Yeah, and it definitely really could. I mean, I'm not really too sure what the difference is from when we had pre-race, when they were gridding, to what the temperature is now. I don't really exactly remember what the track temp and air temp was. I just remember that it was very, very hot here today at the virtual Richmond Raceway. And because these guys have been running 97 laps here tonight on this abrasive surface, you can just see right now wind speed 5 miles an hour right now. Air temp 77 degrees, track temp still 95, so very significant. If that temperature on the track, guys, reaches over about 100 degrees, it's going to become very slick. Obviously, this track really doesn't have any shade, anything to really give it any shade around the racetrack. No trees, no hills, no mountains, no nothing. You're pretty much dead center, flat on the land here in Richmond, Virginia. I've been down in the area, haven't been down to the track, but it's pretty flat, especially when you get off Highway 90 or Interstate 95. You can see all the fans out there and stuff like that. So this is really flat. This track doesn't provide a lot of shade until the sun really starts to go down. So all day long, from the time that sun gets over the grandstands, it's just beating down on this racetrack with the heat from the rays of the sun on this racetrack, which provides a very exciting racetrack and a very slick racetrack here tonight.
We're just going through the field and watching all the different battles going on. Let me do a quick shout out to the series sponsor, Mach 1 Performance. It's a race car fabrication shop that was started by the late Johnny Coy Jr. This shop has produced champions and winners in all sorts of racing divisions, from road circuits like the SCCA and NASA, dirt and pavement oval racing. Visit them, find them on Facebook at facebook.com/Mach 1 Performance. And if your team is in the area of this group, please go give them a visit. It's well worth the time. They're going to hook you up and produce some high quality parts for your car, get it repaired nicely, whatever you need to get it going and get some championships. Going back to the action, still single file all the way around this track at this point. We're just past lap 100, so we got 150 left to go. This is where you're going to start to see a lot of these guys just kind of ride it out, so to speak. They're going to just take their time. No need to push the issue. We're getting close to about halfway on a field mileage run here. And if anything from stage 1 told us around lap 30, lap 40s when you really start to see that handling take over, and you're not all of a sudden racing the guy next to you, you're racing the track.
Yeah, that's the thing. And one thing, my buddy Ben Amato from Twitter, and also fellow iRacer, I believe he's also an iRacer. The 44, Beck makes contact right there with Dublé off the corner. Big moment, good save by those guys. They keep on racing years ahead in the 1. But my friend Ben Amato and I had a discussion last year during the Cup Series races in Richmond, because everybody, obviously, you know, they're just fans of the sport. They don't really know technicality as much. My buddy Ben Amato and I were talking. We were like, yeah, this is a really great track. I don't really think people understand how fun it is. You see the 37 of Dublé getting loose. You just see what I'm about to say is it is a driver's racetrack. You're not driving your car. You're not driving around other drivers. You are driving the racetrack. The racetrack controls your car. You have to adapt just like as you would with Darlington. This track does not get enough credit, Jeremy, for the way that it's abrasive, and it is a driver's racetrack. That's what we both agreed on, me and Ben Amata. We said this is a driver's racetrack. We don't really think a lot of fans get the understanding behind Richmond. They like to call it a boring race last year. I said otherwise because of strategy. You race the racetrack, you adapt to it, you want to try to conserve those tires, you want to try to play strategy, and that very well could be, Jeremy, the way it could shape out to be here tonight. And you might not even see Nicholas Moreau in the first spot here at the end of the night, maybe even not top 3, depending on how strategy plays out, if we do indeed tend to play strategy later on in this race.
Yeah, I mean, last year, too, the Richmond race, the next-gen cars have a struggle in the short track since it's unveiled itself in 2022. In particular, Martinsville being like one of the worst races we've seen in modern times. But you know, this is a short track, right? So it's going to drive similar qualities with the lower speeds, with the wider wheelbase. There's just not much room for passing. Like the bottom of the track is it, unless your name's Stephen Lou Allen tonight. Nobody else really is venturing to go up to the second groove at all and trying to make a pass, unless there's an issue by someone on the bottom. So it's just that little bit of nature, but this car has gotten better. They're doing some modifications to make this thing a little more fun for these guys to race on the short tracks. And you're starting to see it here. The handling of the cars are basically nothing at this point. Because they're holding onto themselves more than the drivers around them and another car, like you said. So you're just trying to race the track for another 30-some laps. You come down pit road and say, think everything. I desperately need new tires, and then you're gonna go back at it again. You're gonna attack hard for 30 laps, and then you're gonna be like, whoops, and now we gotta be chasing the car around for 30 more laps like you're driving on ice.
Yeah, for sure, and that's the thing. If we do get the scrolling green flag run, you're going to see a lot of guys struggle even to probably come down pit road. This is a very difficult track to come down pit road because heading down into 3, Jeremy, there is pretty much a blind spot. Once you're just about to hit that commitment line on the pit road, it's hard transition. You'll see guys kind of start to enter onto that apron going into 3 right there. You see where that dotted line is. Some guys wait until the very last second to dive on. There very well could be, if we do get the chance to have green flag pit stops. As you see, Wayne Rossi getting passed here by Tony Solar and that number 11 machine down to the inside of the racetrack. They have Beck and Hedrick. Oh, Beck sideways!
No, he said that was 2. You might have one coming.
Contact, they save it. A whole gaggle of cars behind them gather it up. They stay green. Wow, that could have been a big instance. But we're going to take a look here at the Nerd TV replay. But yeah, Jeremy, like I was saying, as you see the 47 just barely makes contact, little bump and run, obviously with iRacing's physics. You can't exactly do the bump and run like you would in real life. Obviously, kind of upsets the balance of the race car, kind of turns other...
How we make their money roll here.
Up there by back in the number 44 machine to save it along with Hedrick to not turn him around. But like I was saying, you know, these guys, they might have trouble coming to pit road, and obviously taking the factor of drivers being on old tires versus new tires. Who's going to take the undercut? Who's going to wait till the very last second to pit? Who's going to wait for a caution? You never know. That's the great thing about strategy. But one thing I'm telling you right now is Nicholas Moreau, he hasn't really been able to kind of get out to the lead that he's been wanting like he has in that first stage. Bartel and Allen are both kind of right there, at least in a close proximity than what obviously everybody was to Nicholas Moreau in that first stage. So look for Bartel and Allen to maybe make a run here at Moreau if we do get green flag pit stops, Jeremy.
Yeah, this time of the race is where you're going to see the 15 of Moreau fall off. You're going to see TJ, you're going to see Lane Allen. They're going to get there. It's just right now they've been basically matching each other's lap times. Nicholas had the advantage early and then left it from his pace a little bit. But to my surprise, I'm actually, to credit of the 15 of Moreau, he is keeping up with the pace of the 30 Bartel, the 14 of Lane Allen, 39 of Troy Torgerson. He's doing what he needs to. He's not trying to push the issue super hard. He knows that that first stage, he had a miserable time in the last 20 laps before the caution came out. So he's taking it easier this time, cycling through. He's maintaining pace this time, so he's learning. That's what some of the best do out here, like the 15. He knows, okay, this is my pace. I need to go a little bit slower. I need to conserve on this long run. And it's working out so far on lap 118, so almost to the halfway point here in this race. But really, the Jason, the pace of the top 10 have really just picked up. Right inside the top 10, though, is still where you're finding all the racing action, starting with the number 7 of Wayne Grossi, who's passing now the 47 of Hendrick. Everybody else on back is, you know, a couple of 2x2s.
P18. You've
And
just
everybody else
done
just like scaled section of cars.
Yeah, Wayne's right now trying to get back inside the top 5. He's under fire from the 0-2 of Mayu, and also Beck with that awesome recovery just a handful of laps ago. He's under fire from Sherwood Williford, who's inside the top 10. But the 7 of Grossi, so strong early on in the beginning of this race, kind of fell back right out, almost, I believe, outside the top 10. Now he's picked it up a little bit in 8th, trying to get back to that podium side of the racetrack. You see the 0-2 of Mayu looks down to the inside of the racetrack, a little bit of side drafting, going to bring the 0-2. The 7 up the racetrack, and also Beck follows in behind him, so Wayne's kind of falling back a little bit. Also, a little shout out in the chats here. Colby says on the YouTube chat, he says, I went to the last race of 2022 at Richmond, and in person it was really good. And I also agree that this is a driver's track. Yes, Colby, it very well is a driver's track, and that's the thing. Some people, some fans, and I will say one track in particular that I look forward to every year. Obviously, it's my favorite. And also my home track pretty much per se, besides Pocono being much closer, but Dover, been going there since 2008. That is a driver's racetrack. People want to complain. See, the 33 gets into the 44 machine. They save it off turn number 2. Everybody getting very racy. 3 wide down the back straightaway. Back to 2 now. Sherwood Williford finds himself inside the top 10. Like I was saying, Dover, driver's racetrack. Last year's Dover race, very good for what it's been out of all the years I've been going to. And I think with the new aero package that they will bring to Dover, I think it actually is going to be a very good race. You see Wayne Grossi loose off turn number 2. He gathers it back up. But first say, you could just see, Jeremy, like Colby was saying, like I was saying, this is a driver's racetrack, and these guys are showing it late here in the tire run. As you see the 57 of Johnson go to the bottom of Loomis as they head to turns 1 and 2.
These guys are so close to simulating what it looks like to drive on ice, and all the cars are just hanging on tight until they have to make their pit stops. The 44, Chris Beck, you saw the 33 get into the left rear. The 44 has opened that door for trouble on that inside quarter panel. When you get the tire marks there on the left side, typically that means you're getting used up. The 44 is giving these guys very little room to make that pass on the bottom. He's protecting it with everything that he has, and that's why that contact has been made twice now to the inside left fender of the 44. So thankfully in his part he has not wrecked, but that's 2 times though it's been a really close call for Chris Beck, as he still maintains the top 10.
Yeah, he's doing a really heck of a job here. As you see the 10 of Gum tries to look to the inside of Leash right there, in the number 81 machine to the inside. Quiet night here for Leash. Not doing too bad, just outside the top 15 now as Gum takes away that spot. But Wayne Gross in the number 7 machine, Jeremy, dropping like a rock. At one point was 8th, and now he's all the way back to almost double that. He could fall back here to the 16th spot behind Gum and Leash there, the number 81 machine. And also shout out Chris Curtis, currently sitting in the 17th spot after that issue earlier on with Brody Hanna, I believe it was. He finds himself right there, running by himself, not doing too bad. But look behind him as well, Richie Coy, struggling night for the Haskell, New Jersey native here in that number 19 DeWalt Ford Mustang, a driver who probably everybody who watches here on Nerd TV, even us 3 up here in the booth between you and Dustin, and also these drivers at home, probably looks for the number 19 machine to be really good. As he's loose off turn number 2, you can just see how much Richie Coy is struggling in that number 19 Mustang. Definitely not the run that Richie was hoping for tonight here at Richmond, because he is pretty much a short track guy. So unfortunate run here tonight from Richie Coy, but maybe strategy could switch it up for him tonight. You never know.
He is definitely a short track guy, and he actually got his left front tire right on that yellow line, and we talked about 20 laps prior, to where if you hit that apron transition, this car is just, you can't save it hardly. So he lightly grazed that flat spot, the apron part of the track, kicked the car sideways. Thankfully he was able to save it, but yeah, this is such a rare sight to see Fury Motorsports in general not performing well. All of them outside the top 15, just troublesome for this team tonight. Oh, I meant the 19
Pace
and the
car is
23. I
out. Line up
apologize.
single
Mr. Dustin,
file
my
behind
producer in
car
my ear,
number 98.
kicking over, but
Pace
we have
car
a
is
caution
out.
for the
Pits
fourth
are
time
closed.
presented by Roasted Jibs Coffee here. Trying to find the hot spot on the track for this caution. Did you catch that, Jason?
Full course
Yeah,
follow.
it looks like
Pits
it
are
might have
open.
been off turn number 2. Saw some smoke here. We'll have to take a look at the Nerd TV replay here once we probably can get you one here. Not too sure who it was here. We'll have to find
leader,
out in
Morrow,
just a
is
second,
pitting.
but the caution is out, and now this gives an opportunity for these drivers to possibly make a pit stop here, and they're going to try to get all they can get here.
This
They're gonna
is
have just
not
little
a
over
good
100
race by any
laps
stretch of
to
imagination
go.
here.
And everybody, Jeremy, is looking to come to the pits here this time around.
This time it's going to be the 22 of Robert Malaikin off of turn 2 on lap 130. And he got into the 23 of Brody Hanna. Brody Hanna now twice involved into a wreck. Same thing with Malaikin, as he hit the 41 earlier on in this race. You see him a little bit late there getting loose down the back straightaway and came into the right side rear quarter panel there of Brody Hanna in the 23. Sends the 22 backwards into the outside wall. So that is that turn 2 just not agreeing with anyone's drive off. And it looked very similar to the Sherwood-Williford incident right on the initial restart last time. We're about halfway down the
Go in
back
18th, come out
straightaway.
18th.
Robert finally had enough comfortability in his car to mash the gas pedal, and that's when the rear tire said, wait, hold up, I can't do this. And so
Michael, you on the lead lap?
sideways and brought out the fourth caution here presented by Roasted Jibs Coffee.
I tell you what, Jeremy, heck of a drive right there. Look at the onboard here by the 23. Yes, he hits the wall heading into 3, trying to get it wound up. Probably some damage, but man, he probably had to have his heart drop going halfway down that back straightaway, getting hit by Malaikin there off turn number 2. That was a heck of a save for Brody Hanna. Obviously, both him and Richie Coy, like we were talking about, not the nights that they've wanted tonight, but right now, Brody Hanna just sitting on the bubble of the top 20, currently P20 up on the board. But man, what a save by him. And also the 22 did a complete 360 after hitting Hanna in the right side.
All right, 117 more laps of torture.
Came back around, he saved it, and everybody just kept
Because this is just straight up torture at this point.
But we're under here. Probably, I want to say this is about fourth caution of the night, I want to say, Jeremy, if not. These guys, they know what they have now. They've gotten 2 pretty much long green flag runs. So
you
they
got
know
out?
what they can do. Nicholas Moreau, if you're him, you know you don't have that long run speed. You know that Bartel and Allen probably could challenge you, but if he keeps on doing what he's been doing all night, he could end up in victory lane. But look at Troy Torgerson. He's found his way up here, Jeremy, into the top 3 now after
4 to 6 tenths.
early on. Look at him go, man. He's up to
Yeah,
third.
TJ was-
He possibly
yeah, TJ was
steal a
there.
podium finish here tonight, away from some of these guys who've been
And
all night.
Lane was right
now.
behind TJ, so
Pits are open.
Yeah, and Troy Torgerson is actually up 20
Race car's in this lap.
positions since the start of this race, 135 laps ago. 23rd started, now he's in P.
71-77.
But Troy is just putting on a clinic as far as driving through the field.
Yeah, we're a little tight back
Put
here.
himself in a podium position at the moment, just past a little halfway for this race on lap 135.
Oh, I'm glad it worked for you, bud.
So excellent job by the 39. And I had to make a correction right before that caution was coming out. Dustin.
I've reverted back now. I haven't actually. I'm back to where I started.
Motorsports driver running in 6th.
Hoping the track. Get off my
Minus
bumper, you.
him. The other 2 are having some problems, but right now the 6
Green
plus
flag.
11 is the class of the team. Holding strong up there in P6.
That was like a delayed reaction. Oh, they're wrecking. They're wrecking.
We've got a
Back
full
green
course
flag.
caution.
We're gonna see the flag.
They still wrecking. They still wrecking.
Once again, Nicholas Moreau is going to start this thing P1. Been doing a hell of a job on each and every restart, which it's easy to get a good restart here, Jason. The front stretch is curved. There's a
Race
lot of
car's
curve
out.
in there.
Line up
So the
single
inside
file
car
behind
definitely
car
has
number
the advantage
81.
on these
We're
starts.
under caution.
And the
It's
15
closed.
starts such a slow. Oh! Oh!
I think that was part of what we were talking about there, Brody. That there was a delayed reaction in the green.
41 to 37, the 47. I think there was one other car involved, actually, Stephen. Yeah, so there's about 5
Right.
cars involved in this wreck to bring up the.
But I think there might have been a checkup up there, which is why we didn't go in the back.
Well, Jeremy, Nicholas Moreau just got the best gift he's been handed all season. You didn't just have one, you had 2. three guys who
Did you get any of that, Tony?
players in this race. Wow. I wonder if the 30 of Bartel, Jeremy, possibly went down to the wrong gear. It slipped out. I mean, I'm not there in his house or wherever his iRacing rig is. I don't know if he's running a sequential. I don't know if he's running paddle shifters. That thing could have slipped out of gear. He could have went down to the wrong gear. He could have maybe helped.
That's when I started yelling, "They're wrecking!"
Because that was very weird. That was not due to wheel spin. He had to have. We'll have to take a look here again. I'm not.
Yeah, you're up there in P3, buddy.
When the gears were shifting, so we'll have to take a look here at the replay. I wonder if he did downshift by chance. He was in third, and all of a sudden it just loops around. He went into second, so he might have downshifted, Jeremy, right there going through the tri-oval. And Nicholas Moreau just got handed the best gift of the year, probably, by having both him and Lane Allen in the number 14 machine taken out.
Yeah, we should be able to make it on fuel.
Huge wreck on that restart. Took out a lot of good cars.
Yeah,
as we sit,
the
yeah.
actual road cars like the IMSA series and whatnot. A lot of the guys have issues.
Me neither,
They
but
shut downshift instead of upshift.
kind of is what it is.
Item of that shift, and NASCAR doesn't have that. So I was watching the numbers.
I'm not
gear went from gear 2 to gear 1, topped out at 9,100 RPM registered on the dashboard.
Yeah, TJ said that he thinks he spun his tires.
Right in front of the field, and took about 6 cars.
Nope, they got a view. They got a view of your from your roof cam of the incident.
On your camera as he exits right there, as Dustin kind of keeps.
And of me slowing down and
your guy
just us going through the wreck.
Hero, I think he had something for that 15, but he hit that inside wall pretty hard, considering how.
That's why I went down low. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere near that wreck.
Left front nose.
His car is out. Pits
I really hope
closed.
he can get everything repaired, but he's still sitting on pit road. Probably going to go multiple laps down. Just terrible luck for some of these guys out here.
Yeah, for sure. And like I
And
did say before, you mentioned it too. Lane Allen, that number 14 machine was involved. I was in shock. I practically screamed at the top of my lungs. I couldn't believe that the 30 just looped it around like that. At first, I thought it was due to wheel spin. Next thing you know, from what we see, it
And
looks
it's
like
still
it was
faster.
just, unfortunate circumstances due to the sequential gearbox. Just a downshift gone wrong. I've done that by accident with my H pattern,
boy.
my 6-speed that is, and obviously
Okay,
the old
Richie,
Gen
get
6
ready.
cars, they were
Resolution
only a
at the end of this lap.
4-speed manual transmission, and I've done that myself. I've been on road courses
And
where
also
I've
with
been
you.
downshifting, and I've been accidentally shifting down too much, or trying to upshift.
This is the
and
way.
I accidentally upshift into a gear that I'm not supposed to. It's just part of it, For example, I've walked
It's a
around
way,
many
just not the one we want to go again.
or just any racetrack, New Jersey Motorsports Park. I try to get down to first gear, and I go from second accidentally
The
to
track
third,
temperature's
and then I have to
decreasing.
blow
It's
it up
now
big time.
90.
Obviously not what
It's
we're
not.
supposed to
Don't
do.
go this way.
Downshift gone wrong.
This is not the way.
Not meant to do that. But with Lane Allen,
This is not the setup you're looking for.
TJ Bartel there, the number
Green flag,
30 machine,
we're
more than
outside.
likely taken out. The only guy I could really see playing a big factor here to try to maybe chase down Nicholas Moreau and your late run could be Troy Torgerson in that number 39 machine. But that was two of the most heavy hitters that could potentially knock out Nicholas Moreau, getting back-to-back wins here in the Mach 1 Performance Cup Series here tonight. They look to be out of the race.
Let's see what Troy Torgerson can do now in his highest running position for 21 spots up. Restart is out here for the 6th green flag to fly on lap 143, heading off into turn number 1. The 15 is going to clear him again by 2 car lengths. Very similar story each and every restart. But look at that green and white Menards Ford Mustang. That is Tony Solari. Started in 16th, up to position number 3. Now fighting for 2nd place. He's got the preferred lane going to turn 1.
I'll tell you what, Jeremy, I wish we had some Menards here out in New Jersey, because me being a Ryan Blaney guy, I'd love to get me some Menards merch and see what they're all about. The great stores out in the Midwest, from what I hear, is one car in the back up into the wall. That was Mayu in the number 02, I believe. But look at Tony Solari, great night for him here. We were just talking about him, and Dustin in our ear earlier was saying, don't forget about Tony Solari, currently P6. So unfortunately, like his two teammates, great run. I bet you they want whatever setup he's running. But you never know, Jeremy. That's the thing about some drivers. They can all be up on the same setups and one guy could be better than both of them. One example I think of is just this past week in Road to Pro at Texas. I was covering Split 2 over at LSR TV and FTN, but one of my buddies, Kenny Brady, was in Split number 1, and him being on Tranquility with Andrew Navarro, they were on a set that Andrew Navarro had built, and Kenny was just not running very well in practice, but Andrew Navarro was. Kenny said, hey, let's try to take a big swing at the adjustment. Next thing you know, they ran top 5 in Split number 1. So it just goes to show you, maybe depending on the setup, it could be benefit to one driver, it could be a negative to another driver. But Tony Solari, out of those 3 guys here tonight in that team, very, very strong run here for him tonight, looking to try to get a podium. Currently sitting in P3, trying to put some heat on George Jorgensen here lately though, as they hit lap 149.
Of course, a lot of the non-NASCAR fans make fun of it, saying, oh, they just turn left and that's it. You know, go fast, turn left. Oh, look, another left turn. I wish I could hear stories like that, because you put the same setup amongst 3 different people and the car drives completely different. So it's not easy. It's really not. So it's driver preference on every technicality of part of any race car that's really racing, especially the higher speeds. That's where you notice it the most. This track with a great combination of fast speed and flat corners, really particular on how comfortable you can be around here, and you're seeing it several teammates among several teams, just one person star shining bright, the other 2 in the back, you know, struggling, trying to find anything they possibly can. And if you're looking for grip, I'm going to turn you guys' attention to Martin Sports. Small-time company with a big-time product. They got the best, I'm telling you, the best gloves in all of sim racing. Martin Sports makes the most breathable and durable gloves too. That's also important. They perform well, they're durable, and they keep your hands from sweating, period. So some of the best in the business ever. But they don't stop there. They also make shirts and hoodies, hats now with custom embroidery. All this allowing for 0 restrictions on color and for the absolute fastest turnaround in the business. It's all done in-house, on demand, boom. So if you're wanting to get something custom or just shop their current products, head over to martinsports.gg. Check out everything they have in their item shop and use Super Nerd, or code that we always hand out to you guys. You get the highest discount. You get 25% off. That's a huge discount from the entire website. So once again, that's smartsports.gg. Headed back to the track here. A couple battles really going on here. The top, again, kind of spaced out. Headed back midfield is where you're starting to see the action. Richie Coy right around him, just in the top 10 area. He's got a couple guys really wanting to take his spot. At the same time, Richie Coy is trying to get around Colton Gum, who's had his best run so far tonight. 5 spots.
96 to go.
His starting order in 9th place now. So, shout out to Gum here for cracking the top 10%.
Yeah, he's been doing a good job after a very poor performance here tonight. How about the 22 of Milliken here? And, he's been really solid here tonight as well, up at the 12th spot, looking inside the top 10. But back to Colton Gum, you know, poor performance last week, had some issues, had some fans out there in the chat earlier on in that broadcast that were cheering for him. Not the finish that I believe he wanted, but currently sitting P9. But I tell you what, Jeremy, you know who's been putting on a heck of a job here late in the going on lap 156 now is Richie Coy. He might have probably taken a big swing out of that race car and put on some Martin Sports gloves, because he is digging in that number 19 Ford Mustang. He's probably got that Martin Sports gloves on right now. He's digging off turn number 2, trying to reach higher up in that top 10 running. Really, really, really poor performance for him earlier on in the first half of this race. And now, Jeremy, he finds himself back inside the top 10. A Haskell native out of New Jersey, currently trying to work his way back up, maybe to try to even get himself a top 5 here tonight, late in the going at Richmond.
The long run will tell the story for the 19. Can he hold on, or will it be like before, where after about 20 or 30 laps are in, the car starts to fade away? Right now he's starting to lose a little bit of time with the 10 of Colton Gum, but I have to agree with you, this is the best showing he's had here tonight. Running right inside the top 10. Outside of his qualifying effort, they just dropped back, right? So now he's maintaining pace, which is better than losing pace. So shout out to that team for getting that car somewhat corrected. You got a little more to do to get that 19 where it needs to be, where you see it each and every week. And especially if he wants to keep that points lead where Nicholas Moreau is just led every lap but 2 laps. And that was stolen by the 33 and the 19 during 2 caution segments. But Troy Torgerson now to the bumper almost of the 15. 1 or 2 car lengths separate them, and Tony Solari as well. So it's starting to build up to be a little 3-car race battle for the race lead.
Yeah, and I tell you what, Jeremy, we really, or at least I myself, thought that nobody was really going to touch Nicholas Moreau after the 14 and the 30 got taken out in that massive pileup heading into turn number 1 on the last restart. But look at Troy. He's slowly reeling in that number 15 of Moreau, and he very well could pass him as we ride on board him. Look at that. The American flag, country boy, cowboy hat. Love to see it. The shades. Man, he's badass. He's ready to rock. He's ripping it off turn number 2. He's digging. Probably got them Martin Sports gloves on for sure. No doubt about it. He's ripping it. And look at him, Jeremy. He's closing the gap ever so slightly going through the corners. But the number 15 of Nicholas Moreau just has a little bit of drive off that's better than him off the corners.
As this run does wind down, let's see if they can get a full green flag cycle through. I'm curious to see how that 15 is going to hold up, but I guess if you get a bunch of cautions, you're going to keep that 15 right where he is right now in P1. But this 39, this number 11, these 2 guys, Troy Torgerson, Tony Solari, really wanting this long green flag run, really stretch some things out, because I think they have the better car for this type of situation, and they're just kind of hanging in there. They're not attacking hard, but at the same time, you can see them through center corner. They have the speed compared to the 15. The 15 just has the drive on exit. Once the 15 loses that, then the 39 and the 11 are going to gobble them up, in my opinion here. Time will tell the next probably 15 or 20 laps, which is coming up here soon.
Oh, now we dive bomb. All right, cool.
You're hoping for a long run, probably, if not trying to get those green flag pit stops, because we all know, the viewers at home know, we know up here in the booth, that 39 and that 11 are very, very, very
Yeah, except that it was me.
long runs. They know the 15 struggles.
I got dive bombed. The guy let TJ go, and then the guy dive bombed me.
But later on, he just kind
Then almost ran inside of me.
And if Troy and Tony can kind of just maintain that gap and stay with him, conserve their tires enough, they might just be able to get past Nicholas Moreau. As you see Josh Mayu to the inside of Wade Rossi, sideways a little bit off the corner. They battle for position. Rossi's going to fall back to 7th, and Mayu goes up to the 6th spot. Now going to try to chase down Sherwood Williford, who's found himself back inside the top 5 in the number 33 machine, who's trying to run down Johnson at number 57 to the inside 3.
Issue that Williford had about 80 or 90 laps ago. I'm glad to see him back in the top 5 running strong. That damage obviously is not playing any dividends to him, as he is now lurking behind the 57 Joshua Johnson to try to get to 4th place. You might have heard me react to something about a minute ago. That was the 39 really attacking the 15 in turn 1, overdrove the entrance and almost made contact, but still with a nice pace there. You see the 11 has fallen back a little bit since last time we panned over to them, but going through the field, spaced out to about where you're watching prior. Gaggle cars really 14th, 15th, 16th, with the 14, the 98, the 22. You mentioned earlier he had a great run, moved himself up, but now the 22 is starting to fall off the pace, back to 16th place for him. So short run cars great, but that long run needs a little bit extra tweaking.
Yeah, for sure. Some of these guys, if they do get another green flag pit stop, which they will, as you see the 47 there of Hedrick gets right to the back bumper of Richie Coy, who's dropped back to 13th. Maybe that long run starting to play a factor as we ride on board. The backwards hat profile pick looking guy. You see him right there off the corner trying to get around Richie Coy. Going to try to back up the corner maybe a little bit. No, he won't. He'll dive it in hard, but up on the outside, try to get the run off the corner. Richie Coy a little bit loose. But Jeremy, like I was saying, if these guys get another green flag run, I mean, regardless, even if they get a yellow, or not a green flag run, a green flag pit stop, but even if it's not green flag, yellow flag, whatever, these next pit stop, you better make sure you got the right adjustments in to get to the checkered flag, because it's more than likely going to be the last pit stop of the night. And if your driver's like Richie Coy, and also Brody Hanna, that 23, who struggled all night. You want to make sure that you can get one last final adjustment to try to make it in to the finish here. But look at this. Look at Lane Allen in the 14. Thought he was out. You see some damage there up on the splitter of that number 14 Bass Pro Shop Chevy Camaro. As you see, the 22 of Malik in there behind him gets loose. What a rebound for him. Yes, it's not top 15, top 10, top 5, first, whatever it may be. But after wrecking early on, you think that maybe he'd be running really slow up in the back. Nah, he's really trying to get after it. He's currently running down Chris Curtis in the number 98 machine, and also Richie Coyne, the number 98, or number 19 machine. So good rebound here for Lane Allen, that number 14. He very well could pick up a top 15 after some late controversy there, just a handful of laps ago. And he's having himself a nice rebound late in the going.
Yeah, let's see if he can get any more spots out of that 14, but we're going to go back to picture-in-picture commercial break. We'll be back with you guys after a few messages.
The gap in front has increased. It's now about 1.66.
Inside. Clear inside. 15th place. Harlow. Hold your line. Still there.
That was a
Clear low. Harlow. Hold your line. Hold your line. Still there. Still there. Hold your line. Clear to the bottom. Car inside. Clear to the bottom. Car low.
16.
Clear to the bottom. Steady.
The gap to Curtis.
Clear low.
That lap time was 24.11. B17.
And back to full screen coverage of the Mach 1 Performance Cup Series here at Simulated Richmond Raceway. We are currently 182 laps in the books, up 250, so about, what's it, about 70 some laps to go.
No.
Math is good, about 78, 79. And right now, Troy Torgerson, only 3/10, still off the back bumper of the 15 Nicholas Moreau. Tony Solari, during our little commercial break there, got loose in front of Sherwood Williford. It dropped him back 3 seconds. Now,
Man, it was close again that time.
podium position in P3. Just super happy to see that car performing the way it is after that middle of the race issue between himself sliding into the Brandon Elder 51. Didn't cause too much damage. And these cars have a lot more tougher exterior with that carbon composite rather than just some sheet metal. So as long as you don't break the internals, which they're more fragile with this Gen 7 car, but not affecting the 33 at this time.
Yeah, for sure. You see just a little bit of damage on that car. Really some damage there up on the splitter. He's had a nice recovery. Sherwood Williford talked about him in the pre-race, said he was going to be good along with Wayne Grossi. Wayne Grossi finds himself just on the edge of the top 10, sitting P9 up on the board right now. So he's just trying to have himself a nice solid run. But Sherwood's been doing a great job in that number 33 machine. Absolutely love it. Throwback to Dale Earnhardt, of course, with the Goodred Service Plus car. You got Burger King on the quarter panel. You got every one of sponsors that Dale had. You got Taz from Looney Tunes on the hood. Absolutely love that car. One of my favorites that Dale ran, so I always love seeing that number 33 machine run as good as it is. You know, so good run for him. You know, after having a very strong run at Phoenix, which was the last semi-short track that we went to, here he is, P3 up on the board. And he very well could still win this race, no doubt about it. Maybe strategy plays into a factor. Obviously, now these guys are starting to get acclimated to the tire wear, so you're going to see a lot of guys start to have more issues. You see Tony Solar there back in the 4th position, almost got into the wall. Now I think he might have kissed it there, gave it a little kiss, a little past Valentine's day there, Tony. But it's all right. Better late than never. He almost made some contact. If not, he just barely kissed it off the wall. You see Johnson there in 5th, Mayu in 6th. So all these guys really starting to get acclimated, Jeremy, to the tire wear. And they're really just trying to keep the tires on it, trying to hope that they can get to the green flag pit stops, if not hoping for a caution here, so they can all get down to the pit road and get some poor, fresh Goodyear Eagles.
Alan Crowell, while you were just talking right there off of turn 2 last lap, hit the outside wall right in front of your race leader, the 15, Nicholas Morel. Checked up the 39 at Torgerson, the 87 of Michael Blackner just a little bit, so it's going to throw Torgerson about a second and a half now behind your race leader, Nicholas Moreau. So, issue with a lap car now kind of affecting the race here just a little bit. Troy was maintaining pace up until that point, and now he's got to kind of regroup and get going. He lost another 10th and a half that last lap around the track. But we're 60 laps left in this race.
I think he hit the wall.
They're being close, or getting close rather, to about halfway between this run of fuel and tires. So I would imagine here in the next 10 laps, maybe 15, we're going to start to see some of these guys try to shortcut the run, pit a little early, get advantage on the fresh set of tires, hoping you don't get a caution.
You've just done a
Yeah, some of these guys definitely don't want a caution, especially if you're Nicholas Moreau. You've dominated the race. You don't want to see a late race caution. You want to just try to get to the finish here. We're approaching lap 200. Once we get to that, lap 201, there will be 50 laps to go, but everybody trying to just work around some of the drivers that are slow.
I think we're going to go 2 laps down.
Some guys better at tire conservation than others. You see the 30 of Bartel. What a comeback. I didn't even know. 44, big check up there into the corner. Got super loose, got up into the 57 of Johnson. Unfortunate for him, those two are going to duke it out here going into turns 1 and 2. And the 44 has about hit everything tonight but the hot dog stand for sure, besides the pace car as well. He's had a lot of saves. You got to think to yourself, Jeremy, that that's about the second time I've seen him really have a big moment, maybe third. Eventually his luck probably could run out if he keeps on racing the way he does. But so far, great drive here tonight for the number 44 of Beck.
They just gave him the old body slam there to the 57 of Joshua Johnson, entering turn 3. Thankfully, no.
So I started doing something on that run, which I hadn't done prior, to try to help that tight in the middle.
Fourth different car, rather.
No, I was downshift. Well, yeah, besides that, I was downshifting to 4th.
The outside wall,
in both corners.
Your 6th caution tonight, presented by Roasted Gems Coffee. As we're setting up a personal record here, amount of cautions in this opening season of 2023.
I mean, the damage is already done on my tires. I don't think it, but it seemed like it stopped my fall, my free fall.
Too tight off corner exit.
But it does make it quite loose off.
Go with the hit on the 57 where he missed the corner, so I know those tires were not in the proper condition.
Yeah, well, I guess I'm the commentator's curse tonight there. So sorry, Mr. Beck. Love that 44 scheme, absolutely beautiful. We'll have to take another look here at the Nerd TV replay. Want to see maybe if we can get a better angle here. You see him off the corner. Yeah, it just comes right up into the 87 machine, unfortunately. That's Blackner right there. And that number 87 or 97, can't really tell, but that Red Bull Ford Mustang. Unfortunate, you know, you got guys that are just on older tires also, trying to get around them. Saw him to the inside, probably thought he was going to be clear off the corner. Unfortunately, 87 was still there. 44 just comes right up and basically cleans himself out there off turn number 2. So tough break there for Mr. Beck in that number 44 machine.
That was off the 87 of Michael Blackner there. Just and as a bystander, just letting people by, and then the lead car comes through with a little excess amount of speed and makes some contact with you, and then, you know, now it's going to set up.
All right, what a still a disaster of a race this is. But we'll see if I can shift here on this opening laps, if it helps me a little bit.
Launch off the restarts and maintain for a long amount of time. When we go back to green flag, inside 50 laps to go. This is set up to be all for the 15, though. Keep your eye on the 33 of Williford, who's going to be starting just behind him in row 2. He might put on a show.
I ain't giving him shit.
Himself, you know, back from that wreck all the way up back to 3rd.
Yeah, he very well could. You've seen that George Torgerson and Sherwood Williford have made the gains enough to kind of stick with Nicholas Moreau. Just one good start, if they could get one good start. But
is that you behind me?
Because obviously going to be restarting first here, pretty much. You know, I mean, Nick's going to have the, you know, the upper hand going out of the Geico restart zone when they go back racing. Because obviously, Jeremy, you made up a great point earlier on the last restart. That curved front stretch, so the inside lane's going to have the run by taking that shortest route around heading into turn number 1. So he's already
one off. It's a small world.
But I mean, if Troy could just really buckle up, you know, and get himself in a good spot, and so would Sherwood, you know, they very well could be side by side with Nick off turn number 2, and they could try to contend for this win.
Pits are open.
They're going to have to get the best restart they've had all season long to make any effort at Nicholas Moreau. You have to throw everything. You have to get the timing perfectly. You got to attack heavy if you can get to the inside by any means. Of course, this guy's such a fast car, but he hasn't had to deal with traffic that's at his pace, right? So if you can maybe get to him and get around just for a short bit, even it'll throw off the 15 off his game a little bit. See if you can kind of capitalize. But if you can't do it in the 15 set sail, this could be a really tough battle. Though I'm expecting the 39, the 33 to be there. They're going to be on the attack. I don't think anybody else within the top 5 or 10 has a chance other than maybe Grossi. Great speed in the first stage of the first initial laps of this race. He starts at 6th, so I wouldn't count him out just yet.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see here if Bartel could try to, you know, get back up to the front here. I mean, he's been so strong. Unfortunate circumstances, a few restarts to go, but here he is, finds himself back up inside top 5. And here we go, green flags back out as they race their way to turn number 1.
15 with another great launch here, 2 car lengths every single time separation through 1 and 2, and that's going to be it for the 15. Just keeps that thing underneath him, and he's going to be good. Everybody else side by side for position. Sherwood Williford trying to take home second place here over the 39.
Reckon on front stretch, reckon on front stretch.
Does not look like he can do it. He has that inside.
Double reckon on front stretch, double reckon on the front stretch.
But the 39 does drive it in deep, drives it to the bottom. Single files out between them two, 4th and 5th now side by side.
Yeah, 4th and 5th side by side. You see Bartel. He'll be able to make that pass. He'll head into the 4th spot. Still strong comeback. There is enough time for Bartel to try to run down. You see Grossi up into the wall. Big crash heading into turn number 1 between the 02 of Mayu and the 7, and another driver involved up ahead of them. And that's
sorry, I hope that guy's helped you.
Jim's coffee caution flag. Tough break, Jeremy, for the
hope me yelling like an idiot helped you guys.
Strong run here tonight at Richmond.
Outfitting for the 7th caution to be presented by the 7th.
Well, because they were wrecking, and then I got past that wreck, and they started wrecking again.
Wayne Grossi just pinches Josh Mayu up into the outside front stretch wall, and it's very reminiscent of that last caution there, where you get pinched up into the wall and get turned around. That was the 44 and the 89 last time. So very reminiscent of that before, but that's bad luck. I just said don't count him out, and then I guess I don't know if I can take your broadcast curse cap or whatnot, but he's like, I'll make you count myself out. Now he's going to be back in 18th place, most likely
And
making.
get you a free dog.
Yeah, it's unfortunate circumstances. And we also have another issue right here.
Yeah.
Look at that. The 44 of Beck comes right down into Legion number 81 machine. Hard hit to the outside wall. Not
Come get you one of them free dogs.
Unfortunately, the 44 avoiding an accident. Understandable. Gets into leash there in the number 81 Chevy Camaro.
At this point, we can't do anything but laugh, right?
Love the number font, by the way, Mr. Leash. Absolutely beautiful. Bringing it back to DEI days, but I love the gold with the neon green type outline. The Nerd TV.
I have no idea how, other than four guys just wrecked in front of me.
Just trying to avoid the accident there. You saw Beck try to dive down the inside. Probably didn't know the 81 was really there all that
I'm
much.
overreaching right now with
Happens,
this.
though, Jeremy. That's just unfortunate product of trying to avoid an accident. You're so focused on making sure that you yourself get around the accident that you're not really fully aware of what's around you there.
Chris Beck, the 44, has parked and retired this event after his 5th wreck, essentially, or 5th contact with another guy, I should say. Just a really bad day overall for the Chris Beck team. They got to regroup and try to get the most as they can next week as we head off to some Bristol dirt action.
Something like that.
Anything's up in the air with that race. But once again, I'm going to keep bringing up the 15. Now he's got a shorter run to deal with. He doesn't have to worry about the long run, Jason. He doesn't have to do it. Now he's got a short run speed. We know it. He's going to have about
Only 45 more laps to go.
He goes back to green, maybe 41, 42 laps. So everything is pointing toward the 15, just setting off into the sunset with this victory, as long as he doesn't hit the wall like he has early on in the race a couple of times. It was light contact, but he has made.
Oh, easy now.
But I'd love to give a shout out to one of our partners this time, the Butt Kicker. Innovative hardware and software technologies designed to give passionate gamers a deeper level of gaming immersion. The Gamer 2 unit is the standard in sim racing immersion, giving sim racers a haptic transducer that easily attaches to any center post of your gaming chair or sim racer.
Oh my God.
You're sitting in, essentially.
Okay, Richie, get
And it
ready.
gives
Race will
any
resume
sim
at the end
racer
of this
that
lap.
much needed feel from the car that drivers need to perform at their peak performance. See their entire product line at thebuttkicker.com. Well worth it. I really sim racing. Basically, you put yourself in the actual car without being some awesome product, and that again is the Butt Kicker.
Most of the people on the stream are going to be looking at me laughing like this, thinking I'm just a crazy person just laughing.
Same setup, the top 5 as we saw last week.
That's true.
Probably going to see the same product again.
Yeah, more than likely. I mean, Nicholas Moreau's going to have to be lights out like he's been all night, Jeremy. So the only time's going to tell here. We're about to find out. Troy and Sherwood are
Green flag,
both
we're
going
racing.
to have a very good restart here. Obviously under 50 laps to go. But don't count out TJ Bartel in that number 30 machine. Yes, he's going to be up on the outside. Yes, he's restarting fourth in the second row. But both him and not only that, look who's in the 5th spot. Stephen Allen. Lane Allen, we call him. And at number 14, Bass Pro Shops Tracker Boats, Chevy Camaro. Those two could give the 15 a run for their money in the Grand Code restart today. Go! Green flag's back out.
Corey Torgerson matches the 15. This is going to be a good battle here if he can maintain speed, but nope, they get to turn 1, and the 15 just launches straight into the corner with a lot of speed and able to hold the bottom as well. So he's going to give himself that nice little separation like we've seen prior. As now he is side by side with the 30 of TJ Bartel as he gets around the 33 of Will for that restart there to put himself on the podium. Running order right now in 3rd.
I tell you what, Jeremy, Bartel's coming right now. If he can get around Troy Torgerson, that number 39 machine, and get rid of Sherwood Williford, he could very well run down that number 15 of Nicholas Moreau. He's been one of the only guys along with Stephen Allen in that number 14 machine.
Show, Tony.
Close up as much as anybody has been able to the number 15 machine, but time is running out. Next time by, Jeremy, just going to be 40 laps to go. So if the 30 of Bartel wants to try to get to the lead, he's going to have to get rid of the 39. He's going to have to get rid of him quick, probably right now here as they approach 40 laps to go this time by.
Richie Coy made some great gains over the past couple of cautions, put himself right now in P8 as he was in the back half of the field before, or before that long green flag run was put to an end by a caution. So right now he's putting himself in a good spot to kind of recoup some of the lost points that he's gonna probably suffer at the end of this race, as long as the 15 can maintain as the race leader, being only 8 points behind. 57 trying to drive underneath 23 right behind them. Temporarily going to make the effort. Joshua Johnson trying to advance into 11th place. Looks like he has a great chance to turn 2. Going to try to get it through 3. Brody drives it in deep. 57 has that center speed, and the 57 will carry himself into 11th place here. Headed back up through the top 5, single file all the way through. It looks like Robert Malakin, that guy's hit a couple guys tonight, but each and every time he seems to recoup and find himself in a great spot here. This time, 2 spots outside the top 5.
Yeah, it seems like everybody here tonight has had somewhat a little bit of trouble, whether it be they wrecked, whether it be they had damage, they've been in the wall, they've been spun, they've been crashed on a big restart wreck, they just dropped back due to poor handling, due to the tires, whatever it may be, etc. There's been everybody here tonight besides, oh my goodness, the 22 almost gets loose into the inside of Tony Solari there. It almost flipped him right there in the record quarter panel off turn number 2. They were able to save it. But man, everybody here tonight, Jeremy, has pretty much had an incident besides that number 15 of Nicholas Moreau. He's probably the only guy here who hasn't had one. He's continuing to be stout here. Big moves there behind them. That's the number 19 of Richie Coy. Strong run, recovery, back up into the top 10. Josh Mayhew and Johnson right there, number 7 machine right there off turn number 2. Big moments for them. They're slicing and dicing their way, trying to get up through this field here off turn number 2.
They're trying to get everything they can out of this car. There's a shorter run to the finish here as we got 35 laps to go, now 34 at the start finish line this time. Keeping our eye out through the top 5. TJ Bartell's showing some late run speed here in the late part of this race, holding 3rd place over Sherwood Williford, who's had a good effort here in the past couple of restarts, but that car just on the short run cannot carry any speed. And look behind him, the 14 of Lane Allen, the same guy on that restart where the misshift happened and he clobbered the inside wall. He almost went a lap down, made some repairs right before the pace car got to him. He pulled out a pit road, came back, repaired it some more, and this guy has carried himself from about 18th spot into the top 5.
Yeah, it's been a good recovery for that number 14 of Steve Allen. And not only him, but 30 of TJ Bartell there as well. I mean, he's the one who triggered off that entire huge wreck, and here they are finding themselves both 3rd and 5th now. So great recovery for both of those Chevys. I mean, what can you say? I really didn't expect to see them back up here at the front, obviously, with the amount of damage they had, and obviously the incidents and putting them all the way in the back. But due to a little bit shorter field than what we've usually seen these past few weeks, Jeremy, definitely played a factor in them getting back up towards the front for sure. But regardless, I mean, it's Richmond Tire.
Checking up on the backstretch.
Caution here on the racetrack. But still, shout out to those guys. Great runs, but that's going to be another Roasted Gems Coffee caution flag. Wonder what happened here. Looks like it was a couple drivers here in the back. We're going to take a look at our TV replay.
Contact made by the 91 of Justin Diltz and the 98 of Chris Curtis. You see it right there. The 91 just came off the right front fender of the 98. Full sent the 91 into the outside wall. And then Brian Dublé just trying to pass the little incident. Completely clobbered as the 91 of Diltz came back up the racing surface, right directly into a T-bone contact. You're going to be on board here with Brian Dublé. You see the contact. And it almost had it corrected. It boom, just yeeted to the outside, smashed the fender there of the 37, nose contact. Thankfully, these next-gen cars, the radiator is a lot.
This will give us an advantage at least.
So it's not going to really affect the radiator, but you always got to worry about the internals, make sure everything's intact. I think the 37s are going to be okay, but still, just by random chance, bad luck happens. Trying to avoid a mess and gets right back into it.
Yeah, unfortunate circumstances, and the 91 almost had it saved there going into turn number 1, but unfortunate circumstances overcorrects it. And that's the thing, Jeremy, these next-gen cars are so hard to save. You know it, I know it, these drivers out here know it. Just an
I
unfortunate.
believe Tony is the first person that pitted. Where are you, Tony? Seventh?
And, you know, yeah, I mean, what else can you say? Just unfortunate circumstance, and just, you know, you're late in the run trying to get everything you can, and unfortunately you just overcorrect it, and that's just the product here of these Gen 7 machines. Very, very hard and very, very difficult to save.
Well, I know what I can say is you see it on your screen.
No.
Announce these too much, so I apologize about that. But the 41 Alan Crowell, 1 lap down, gets the Martin Sports hashtag Get a Grip Lucky Dog award. He's going to move himself up into the lead running order. 17 cars on the lead lap after he gets his lap back and gets his service done with his crew. And it's going to put us about lap 225 when we go back to green flag action. So we're going to see 25 laps, maybe 26 left in this race. And every time we see a caution, it's definitely playing into the 15's favor more and more.
We're all blanks back here.
It's all but locked up unless Troy
Empty shell casings.
some type of crazy restart. But if that's time to practice off them, he's got to get the job done now.
Yeah, very well. I mean,
I'm definitely saying it's Ricky Craven now.
top 3 here. They're all very, very stout. They're very, very good drivers. I mean, the 30 of Bartel here, he might be able to get the good run that he needs, Jeremy, to get around Nicholas Moreau. But we've seen it on these restarts due to that inside being a little bit more arced. Obviously, the front straightaway, the placement of the Geico restart zone. I mean, Nicholas Moreau just has a huge upper hand here. I mean, maybe if it was a pure straightaway like you see the back stretches, you know, maybe Bartel would have, you know, the option, and along with Troy Torgerson, to try to make a move and maybe get a big enough run. But you know, you can't push obviously going down the front straightaway because it's art, so you can't be pushing a guy into the restart zone, or else you're just going to cause calamity, and it's unfortunate the way it is, and you know that's why the leader just really jumps out of the way.
Yeah, it's usually not this bad.
You guys are lined up side by side. That means we got 1 lap to go before we go back to green flag. It will be a 25 lap shootout from this point forward. Let's see if these guys can go all 25 laps under green flag. 15, I know Nick He's like, let's just get it going, man. And everybody else is like, give me that one more chance. Give me that one more chance. I think I can get him this time. I know I've had 9 efforts, but maybe this time will be the time. Maybe we'll see another guy miss shift or spin the tires. These tires are older now, so very well could have at least one car, you know, gassed up a little too hard and cause tire spin. We're going back to green flag action here, and it looks like 15's going to do the very same thing he's always done. But TJ Bartel in the 30 makes a quick effort from the bottom of Troy Torgerson here, trying to battle for second place side by side through corner exit. These guys are a lot closer to the 15 this time around.
Yeah, but the 30 gets way up the racetrack there. Other drivers getting really sent in there. You saw Steve Allen go way high. Here comes the 30. He might be able to get to the inside of the racetrack. No, he won't. The 15 slams the door. This is the closest anybody has been to Nicholas Moreau all night. These guys were going to have to get single file here shortly, or else Nicholas Moreau is going to just dart away as you ride on board the back bumper cam. Shout out to Justin with all the great angles here tonight. Torgerson gets clear of Bartel, and now he's going to try to run down Nicholas Moreau in that number 15 machine heading into turns 1 and 2.
And turn 3 that time, we had 3 wide between the 10, the 19, and the 47, but they quickly sort that out as there's 2 by 2 by 2. But yeah, the action right now at the race lead. It's in the 15, gathered just a car length or so from the 39. That was such an opportunity wasted, I think. I know they want second place. I know they want their shine for victory. But the 15 was in reaching distance. They could smell the fumes coming off that car, but yet they were side by side. They could not advance their position at all, and it allowed the 15 to drive away just enough to give a little breathing room between him and second place. Now, since Troy does have that position, what can he do? He's got 21 laps to figure this out. He's got to match the corners. He's got to try to figure out how to pace with them, maybe get a little bit faster as the time is ticking down here.
Yeah, time is ticking down for sure. Jeremy lap car ahead of him. I believe it is the number 91 machine of Justin Dills, I think. But if not, I mean, these guys And yes, it is the number 91 machine of Justin Dills. He could play a factor. You see him right now. And not only is he playing a factor by being a lap car, but he is creating dirty air for Nicholas Moreau. And that very well could be a huge benefactor for TJ Bartel and Troy Torgerson as they're slowly trying to reel him in. Nicholas Moreau is going to have to get rid of Dilts quickly if he wants to maintain the lead here. As you see the number 19, Richie Coy diving down to the bottom of Sherwood Williford, and also Wayne Grossi there in the mix, along with Colton Gum. Big moments here late in the going at Richmond, coming to just 18 laps to go this time by.
2 by 2 for these guys here, trying to see who's going to get inside the top 10 and who's not. The 19 gets a great launch off corner exit, really pushes the 33 close to the outside wall. Still no contact to be had. These guys are still side by side, 2 rows deep here, coming through turns 1 and 2. 33 loses a little bit of ground there. Almost saw 3 wide. The 7 Wayne Grossi decided twice on it. 19 slowed through turn 3 that time, allowing 33 to get a great launch through the upper half of the track in 3 and 4. Just not enough able to clear the 19 as they're still side by side through 1 and 2.
Hey, Richie Coy had a big moment there off turn number 2. He's starting to get a little bit loose. Everybody really, as you just see these guys jockeying for position with just under 17 this time by, hitting 16 laps to go up on the virtual scoring pile here at the virtual Richmond Raceway. Nicholas Moreau trying to move around it, and look at this. Interesting. Tony Solari has moved up into the 2nd position. I wonder if there was some contact. And look at this. This is the closest anybody has been to Nicholas Moreau all day. The 11's going to go to the outside of the racetrack, trying to look for the lead. This is outstanding racing here. Can you believe it? The 49-year-old out of Illinois trying to close the gap on Nicholas Moreau. Unfortunate circumstances late in the going for Torgerson and Bartel. Tony Solari capitalizes to pass 2 for 1. Here he goes in the 2nd position. He's trying to look to the outside of Nicholas Moreau. This time by 14 laps to go here in Virginia.
Taking me by surprise, I went through and looked at the lap times, and the number 11 Solari was the last one to pit on that last restart. Nobody else came down. So even though there's a short amount of difference on laps of tires, it's playing huge dividends here for the 11, looking like a superior. Going to the inside for the first time, maybe a green flag lead change will be had, and the 11 will beat Nicholas Moreau. So right now, actually, nope, I don't think it was a dead heat to the line. 1/1000th of a second, that time going to Nicholas Moreau. But there goes Tony Solari, the first official lead change under green flag situations. And no better time than just over 10 laps to go. This is going to be an upset here due to a late race pit stop call that no one really expected that would work. And it is working right now for Tony.
Yeah, this is crazy. I can't believe we're talking about Tony Solari, who's been pretty much in the top 5 to top 3 all night long. So it's not like he doesn't deserve this, but you know, you just talked about a little bit fresher tires than the rest of the field. That could play dividends. But hey, listen, Jeremy, he still has 11 laps to go up on the board. He still needs to play a little bit of tire conservation, because if he runs it super hard, Nicholas Moreau might be able to run him down. So, I mean, if you're Tony, you know you have that gap between you and Moreau. Just run it clean, just run it quick. You don't have to be the fastest car on the racetrack. Just be consistent, hit your marks, and try to drive away from that number 15.
Yeah, it's got to be.
That's one way.
237 laps just to not be able to compete for the race win by the 11, just pulling away. His tires are probably no more than 10 laps fresher, and you're seeing all the world of the difference that this is having for that guy. He's now got a second of a lead over the 2nd place Nicholas Moreau. Troy Torgerson under fire by the 0-2 of Josh Mayu, which I'm surprised to see this. Josh Mayu put on some strong speed as the 39 starts to drop back a little bit, falls him outside of the podium position in P4. Now the 47 Ryan Hedrick, running his best race of the night, has cracked the top 5. He's looking down the back bumper of Troy to get 4th place.
Yeah, I'm not too sure, Jeremy. I don't have any data right now up on my screen, but I believe Josh Mayu and Hedrick might have pitted that last caution. Not too sure. And I believe they possibly have. They're running really strong. And yes, they did. Thank you very much, Dustin. So they are also on similar tires to Tony Solari. So if this race gets a late race yellow, you're going to see most of those guys come into the pits probably that obviously aren't on fresher tires. But if that's not the case, Tony Solari and Mayu and also Hedrick, they could be battling for the win. You just see how much those tires are paying off. 15 way high in 3 and 4. He's going to move up out of the way. And Mayu and Hedrick, you might just have a race. They're going to try to run down Tony Solari in the 11, but you just see, guys, that he is so far out ahead. I don't know if they're going to be able to run him down, but Tony Solari doing a great job holding the lead. Got to be cool, calm, collective, hit his marks. He's just praying for no yellow, but I said it once, and I had the commentator's curse. Hopefully I don't. Tony Solari is looking to steal one away from Nicholas Moreau late in the going here tonight at Richmond.
That last caution 11 laps ago, the top 3 that you see did hit. The first car not in that sequence is the 15 of Moreau running in 4th, and you see the respectableness that this guy has produced. He was battling for a position, right? That'd be Nicholas Moreau. He had podium spot, but instead of battling for it and trying to keep the top 3 and maximizing his points, he went wide in turn 3, and you called it. He went super wide. That was to give room for the 02 Mayu and the 47 of Ryan Hedrick. So even though he's battling and really frustrated over this outcome, he still had, you know, the willingness to give up his position and to bypass.
At this point, I just want this freaking race over.
4th place right now. You saw the 02 going by the 15. Just to recap that comment there, just without hesitation, say, hey guys, I know you're faster. You go ahead and take that spot. It is all yours. And so huge shout out to the 15 on that one. But you know, we're coming down to 2 laps remaining here, Jason. 11's got that dominant lead, just over a second.
Yeah, but I wouldn't really call it a dominant lead, though, Jeremy. That 02 of May has been posting some of the fastest lap times this last time around, and he's closing the gap. We could see a little bit of Carl Edwards and Kyle Busch, if you remember back in 2016, put the bumper to his teammate in turns 3 and 4, this time by white flags in the air. 1 lap to go here for
Nice job, Tony.
Closing the gap on Tony Solari. He looks to the inside. Solari slams the door, heading into turns 1 and 2 for the final time.
Here we go. Heads to turn number 3, and yeah, these came up like I did not expect that at all. But here we go for the attack. The 11 misses the corner. Josh Mayu makes the corner. Dead heat side by side to the racing line. This is your March Sports winning moment. It's going to end up going to the number 11 of Tony Solari, who had a hold off a really hard charging 0-2.
Yep.
Josh Mayu made a very excellent, exciting race here at the race end between the 11, the 47, and the 0-2. And at the end of the day, pit strategy with all the cautions pay dividends for the guys who made the last pit stop on lap 222. And Tony Solari is going to pick up his first win this season of the Mach 1 Performance Cup Series. Just excellent call by those guys to make the pit stop, and it made this race exciting at the end.
What a finish! What an absolute finish! That was just fantastic. One to remember over here on Nerd TV, and surely one to remember for Tony Solari. We've talked about in the last few weeks some tough breaks for him. Some solid runs, some not so solid runs, and here he is tonight, winning by just a little less than half a car length over Mayu in that number 02 machine. And I was going to say it right before Dustin showed the replay of Moreau giving the courteous and kind respect, and you just show it. If it wasn't for Nicholas Moreau giving up his 2nd and 3rd place spot to Mayu and also the other driver there of Hedrick, that may have not even happened here. We're going to take a look at the Nerd TV race replay heading in to turn 3. This is obviously for the final time, I believe. Yes, it is. As we're going to rewind it back just a little bit, you saw the 02 closing the gap ever so slightly as the laps winded down here. We're going to take a look. This is coming to 2 laps to go, I believe, this time around. You're going to see the 11 kind of missing the bottom. He's just really all over the place. The 02 of Mayu running a lot better. There he goes, heading into turns 1 and 2. Actually, I believe this is the white flag. The 02 dove it down to the bottom. Solari slammed the door. He ran a little bit higher, got tight off the corner. The 02 of Mayu had a huge run down the back straightaway. The 11 completely misses the bottom, opens up the door for Mayu. And man, Mayu could have just really just slammed on the throttle there, got loose there off the corner. And look at that, folks. half a car length practically. Tony Solari, the number 11 Ford Mustang, picks up the victory. Wow, what a race.
The prize top three, what a race indeed. And this is going to bring us to our unofficial race results for tonight. We're going to recap the 26 positions in this race. Tony Solari obviously bringing home the checker flag. Josh Mayu second. Ryan Hedrick's going to finish in third. First podium for him this season. Nicholas Moreau does end up going to fourth. Troy Torgerson fifth. Robert Malaykinen in sixth. TJ Bartel seventh. Wayne Grossi in eighth. Colton Gum finishes in ninth, and the round out tonight's top 10, Joshua Johnson.
Yeah, and then heartbreak for Steven Allen after having a strong run, got involved in that late race wreck, came back. He just falls short of the top 10. He'll come home 11th. Sherwood Williford, unfortunate ending for him tonight, top 12. He'll finish in the 12th spot. Brody Hanna. I'd say that's a good recovery for both of those guys. Those two teams, the 23 and the 19, struggled all night, fell way back. They're on the lead lap, finishing 13th and 14th. That's Brody Hanna, Richie Coy. Alan Crowell finishes 15th. And then Michael Blackner, last car up on the lead lap, finishes 16th. 17th, Brian Dublé. 18th, Timothy Stubblefield, also known as Stubbs. 19th, Justin Diltz. And Chris Curtis rounds out your top 20, the number 98 machine, 6 laps down.
21st place, you're going to find Justin Lish. 22nd, Steve Loomis. 23rd, Chris Beck. 24th, Stephen Lou Allen. 25th, Brandon Elder, after a really strong race, had a back out early after multiple incidences. And James Wallace in the 67 did not start but was registered, so he will finalize the field 26 car entry here. We're going to go to our only full screen commercial break as we're going to gather the top three for post-race interviews in the Nerd TV booth. We'll be back with you guys after a few short messages. And welcome this time for the Martin Sports post-race show as we're going to talk to our top three, which all three of these names were unexpected to finish up until about 20 laps ago when some late race strategy happened and allowed these guys to make the most of their night and bring them into the Nerd TV booth for their post-race interviews. First one on the list, going to be the number 47 of Ryan Hedrick. Mr. Ryan, do you have a copy?
I do. How you guys doing?
Very good, my guy. Congratulations on the podium. That all the cautions produced some strategies. You, along with the top two guys, and then a couple others behind you as well. You guys pitted, and it just, even though the tire lap difference wasn't that much compared to like Nicholas Moreau, who did have that fall off, Richmond eats these tires alive. So, what was the strategy behind the call, and how did you guys make the top three spot?
Yeah, we had good long run speed all week at Richmond. So we had a plan to pit. Actually, that one caution that came out right before we were having green flag stops, I was on pit road right then. Kind of screwed me over. Ended up taking a wave there, but then we got the caution off the caution. Um, I don't know. I actually thought that everyone pitted on that last caution with 222 or whatever lap that was. I guess that wasn't the case. Uh, I don't know. It was it just worked out really. I had to come back. I got a black flag early in the race, and that was not fun. So I had to come back a couple times, but we had good long run speed, so it was a great effort by the Boomerang boys.
Yeah, Ryan, man, great job here, coming home third as you join the post-race show for Martin Sports. Dude, man, I tell you what, I really expected the 11 of Tony Solari when he kind of got out there a lot, and then I saw the 15 go high, and you and Josh both really were chasing him down. What was going through your mind when you saw Josh get to the back bumper of Tony there in that last lap? Were you just going through your mind thinking, man, they might wreck, I'm going to have to get around this? What was going through your mind there that last lap?
First thing I wanted to do was wanted about 5 more laps because I think I could have gotten by them both there, but they were racing hard. Josh had a long run speed all night, so he was really fast. Really, what I try to do there on turn 3 and 4 going in is just kind of lift a little early, try to get a good drive off in case they did make contact. I was going to try to take that inside there. I ended up getting a little loose there off of exit anyway, but it was a good finish, good show.
Yeah, especially at the very end, the excellent show for sure. And yeah, I think I'm off the side with you. If you had 5 more laps, you had the speed over Josh May. You definitely had the speed over Tony Solari. That was proven there. You just needed that 5 extra laps. But either way, we found you in podium here. So congratulations on that. Floor is yours. Who would you like to thank out there before we send you home tonight?
Just the team, Brian, James, Josh, on the good effort. I didn't want to apologize to Chris Beck. Got into him, got a little contact there. Didn't mean to do that. But all in all, good race. Thank you guys. Thank you, FTSR.
Appreciate the kind words, man. We'll let you go home and celebrate with the team. Awesome job, and we'll see you next Monday.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Another driver, the number 47, Ryan Hedrick there, the DraftKings Chevrolet Camaro. Now it's time to turn our attentions to the second place finisher, 02 of Josh Mayu in that Blackwater Chevrolet Camaro. Congratulations, man. You got a copy. Josh, this is Jeremy from the Nerd TV booth. You got a copy.
You guys hear me?
Yes, sir. We got you there.
You guys hear me? Hello? Hello?
Can you hear us?
I don't think Josh can hear us.
Does not seem to be the case. So I think while he gets that figured out, if we can, we're going to try to turn our attention to our race winner and see if we can talk to Josh here momentarily. So, Dustin, producer, can you actually, I can't even see if we can get Josh out of here and talk to, there we go, Mr. Tony Solari. We're going to bring in to the Martin Sports Victory Lane, Mach 1 Performance Victory Lane, rather, Mr. Tony Solari. Do you got a copy?
Hey, what's up, guys? I know Josh was having some mic issues. I've been text chatting him because he was having mic issues throughout the whole race, from what I understood. But apparently in Discord too.
Yeah, we can hear him, but he can't hear us. So maybe your texting help can get him to where he needs to be. But turn the attention to you, Mr. Solari. Out of nowhere, you find yourself in the Martin Sports Victory Lane. And man, what the strategy to pit on that last caution there caught the 15 off guard, who thought maybe he had the car to beat. But just the short amount of laps difference between you and the 15 said it all. You drove away from the 15, and then at the very end, you had to fight off the 0-2, hard charging through 3 and 4. Walk us through the final restart and how you got to the lead, and then how you're able to hold off the 0-2.
Well, it's a surprise for me to be up here. Obviously, the team didn't have a great setup. I was running a Buster setup, believe it or not, and the rest of them were running something different. And yeah, I figured I'd play that strategy at the end. I was hoping for, we'll get in, take tires. Fortunately, I was the first guy in. And then I just had to work through the rest of the field for the last 20 laps, praying that there wasn't going to be a caution. Josh is good too, and I didn't, I wasn't really thinking of him back there at first, but with 3 to go, I saw his name pop up, and starting to bite my nails a little bit trying to get through these corners, and I had just enough to hold him off. Another lap or two, yeah, I wouldn't be here, but hey, it's an oval and it's paved, and I actually won a race, and I'm impressed with myself, to be honest.
Hey, man, you should be impressed with yourself, Tony. You did one hell of a job here tonight, man. You talked about your 2 teammates, so I guess 2-part question. One, were you helping them out with their setups as the race progressed? Because I kept saying, I was like, man, Brody and Richie not doing so well. They're always strong. And here's their teammate, Tony. I don't know if he's doing something wrong. I don't know if they're on the same setup, so maybe Tony's benefiting from it. Were you helping the first part? Were you helping them out at all, trying to make those adjustments as the race progressed for your teammates being Brody and Richie? And also, man, what was going through your mind on that last lap when you saw those guys coming?
Well, as far as setup goes, I don't really have too much to offer in the paved ring. So I should say Richie made a change on his car after the first run, and I tried it out on this thing, and it seemed to help me throughout the rest of the run, and I was able to kind of work up to about 4th. And then we had a caution. I got a speedy, dropped all the way to the back. Wasn't sure how that was going to go. Then obviously we had a couple extra cautions. I took advantage of it. And yeah, like I said, I know Josh is a good guy, and he saves his tires, and he's just a really good racer and competitor. And yeah, when I saw him back there, I was like, man, just keep hitting the marks and just try to stay on your line. And I know I bumped the wall too, and yeah, it's rough. And it's a rough track. I mean, there's really no grip out here whatsoever. And my car it started pushing real bad towards the end, just overdriving it.
You say you're the guy to not talk to for the setups here on the oval side, and then you go with a rogue setup that your other 2 teammates aren't running, and you make the right call, surprisingly, and it was a much different run than what they had completely. So maybe you can actually share some notes with them this time around, and they can maybe combine the setups and get better for the next time you guys meet up at Richmond. But you are the 5th winner in this season out of 7 races. So a pretty diverse collection of drivers here so far through 2023. Congratulations on picking up your first W of the year. The floor is yours, man. Who would you like to thank before we let you go tonight?
Well, I want to thank Mom and Dad. I know they were watching. They already got texts. I probably heard them screaming from Las Vegas. So yeah, it's good to see that they're watching. And hey, Richie and Brody didn't do the show tonight. It was your own son that gave you something to cheer for. So then again too, I want to thank all the competitors. Want to thank the league. Got to thank the team, Richie and Brody, and we got Michael Blackner on the team now for the Cup side. And thank you guys. And thanks for Menards being local to me. Stuff like that.
Appreciate all the kind words, man. Go ahead and celebrate with the team on an awesome job to bringing home P1.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
You too. And that was your race winner there, Mr. Tony Solari, in the number 11 Menards Ford Mustang. Joshua Late saying, "Go Ryan." So he got himself a top 3 podium spot there. Awesome job by him to get that done. And then Josh Mayu 4 minutes ago had said there's something wrong with the audio. We're going to try to bring him back in one quick time to see if we can get a word with him, see if he's got something resolved. We're going to try one last time, Mr. Josh Mayu. Can you hear us? And it does not look like to be the case. So you got to hear from first place and third place tonight. Maybe we'll be able to talk to Josh Mayu shortly in the following weeks here if he can continue to get better and better each and every week for this 2023 opening season. But until then, Josh, congratulations on your second place finish. If you do watch this back, we wanted to talk to you, but maybe here sometime soon. Jason, we're going to round out this thing tonight's final thoughts of this Richmond 250.
What a race. I mean, what a race. It had everything you pretty much wanted. We thought it was going to be the Nicholas Moreau show. Late caution, brings in some strategy, some guys from the mid to back of the pack pit. Next thing you know, a few laps, different tires, man. And it played a benefactor there for the number 11 machine of Tony Solari. I mean, what a run. for his two teammates being really slow early on in the going to them getting rebounded, and for, I believe they had top 15, if not top 12 finishes. And here he is, passes the best of the business tonight, Nicholas Moreau. He said, hey, man, get out of my way. I'm going to come and win this thing. And sure enough, he did. And he almost about lost it off turn number 4 to Josh Mayu. But Josh, congratulations on his second place finish, man. Like you just said, if he's watching this, Josh, heads up driving by you, man. You could have absolutely doored Tony coming off 4. You got loose. Obviously not the finish you wanted, but it's a good enough finish to come home and be proud with. So shout out to Josh. And obviously, Hedrick obviously had a good run there. And I believe him, man. If he would have had about maybe 3 to 5 more laps, I think he might have done something. But Tony Solari, excellent drive here tonight, from being in the top 10 to the top 3, falling back, and all the way up to finishing P1 here tonight. Jeremy had a blast calling this race for sure, and what a finish.
Yeah, that ending, the whole race was great, but the ending especially kept us on our toes, and we didn't know who was going to bring home the checker flags there. Also, if Nicholas Moreau is watching this part back, congratulations on that really dominant performance. You just got caught up in some late cautions with the wrong strategy, and sometimes that happens to any good sim racer out there, or any racer in general. So congratulations on that really good, strong run, over 200 laps led for that camp. So but that will bring a close tonight for the FTSR broadcast on Nerd TV for the Mach 1 Performance Cup Series. Give a quick shout out to our sponsors one last time, because without them, we're not doing this for you guys. So thank you, Full Throttle Sim Racing. That's at FTSR.net. If you want to join all the action, get signed up over there through the Sim Racing Point software. It's going to allow you to create your team or to join another team through their charter system they have built in. So it's an excellent product on the track. FTSR.net. Mach 1 Performance, your Cup Series sponsor, and the race fabrication shop that's produced champions from all sorts of racing divisions within their area. Find
All right, guys. Well, that's going to be our show for this evening, and what a show it was. We will be back on Wednesday with the Truck Series on the dirt. All right. Who's looking forward to that? I know I am. Good night, everyone.
Your website